Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So go ahead and hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content now. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, we are back again with another very interesting subject. We are here. Today's show, cooked with a splash of Don Lemon. Okay. Sometimes you have a good meal, but you want to, spread a little lemon on there. Okay. Sometimes you want a cool drink, but you want to, spread a little lemon on there. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Get you a little lemon sometime. It's okay. But y'all, we going to deal with Don Lemon, a somewhat controversial figure. I'll say that, a somewhat controversial figure. But before we get into this, let me say, first of all, shout out to all the folks who come by and give me views on a regular basis. I appreciate it big time. Because y'all are what make, y'all are the family around here. Y'all the family, the ones who come on a regular basis. I appreciate the people who scrolling by and just looking, but hey, the people who come through on a regular basis, y'all the family. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream. It helps with the algorithm purposes. I appreciate it. Plus, sometimes y'all give me good ideas. So, and that's great. Also, shout out to all the people who hit that like button on a regular basis. Y'all know the like buttons help carry this thing through and strong. And shout out to all the people who hype me up every chance they get. Can't do this stuff the same way without y'all. But shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty. The people who become financial contributors at the Roger Report Live. You know, the people who allow me to do things I would not be able to do without them. Appreciate you big time. And shout out to Eric M. Grease with Fire. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time. Glad you've been rocking with me so long. Now, let's give some shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning. Because when you start a show, it's always great to see that you got somebody chiming in with you. And y'all know how it goes around here. There can only be one. So shout out to the Highlander of today's stream, my main man, the Great Black Reset is in the building. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Good to have you here, my brother. Good to have you here. Also, shout out to the man who helps us keep it in line a little bit, even when we're about to go off tracks. Shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable, the Pit Master. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. And shout out to the pit crew as a whole. Good to have y'all on board. Shout out to my main man, Trail Benny, representing as he always does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. And I think Hydra has been afoot. I think in today's episode, there will be forms of Hydra that's been afoot. Shout out to my main man, Floyd Thompson. What's going on, my brother? Glad to see you here. Yay, yay. We got Jerome Payne in the house. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Great to see you. Great to see you. We got 7-9 Caliacate is in the building. Glad to see you, brother. Glad to see you. All my hoes, the monetizers here. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Jay Bay is in the house. Great to see you. Great to see you. And we got Bucket in the building. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here, my brother. Glad to have you here. And shout out to all my hoes, the monetize, y'all. Coming through with the first super chat of the day. I appreciate you for helping me get off to the good start. All my hoes, the monetize says, YouTube ain't canceled this. He say, YouTube ain't canceled this show yet. All you Negroes watching, stop now. Hashtag Roger Suggs. Hashtag Chicago Ninjas. Hashtag refund all my super chats. I'm going to say shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you, brother. Now, if everybody else can follow you up with a super chat saying the same thing, we work out just fine. It will work out just fine. Shout out to y'all, my host of other times, okay? We gonna keep it pushing. We gonna keep it pushing. I will say we gonna do it till we get canceled, but I can't really say that because they done came at me too many times. But it's all good. Yeah, I'm gonna be here, y'all. I'm planted like a tree. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here. And that's real talk, y'all. And if you're new around here, you want to be in tune with the best show on social media, you might as well subscribe. We do this Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Chicago time, not where you happen to live, but Chicago time. All right, about to get into this, y'all. We about to get into this, y'all. Man, Don Lemon, y'all. Don Lemon. Again, already a controversial figure himself, okay? Don Lemon, yo, he does some crazy things here or there. I started looking into a story about Don Lemon. Now, y'all, there's 3 links in the description for those who do not know. Sometimes there are links in the description that you want to check out so you can see understand what we're talking about sometimes when we're having these conversations. So I did put 3 links in the description, okay? This story came across my desk, as they say. Truth be told, I watched the video from Nate the Lawyer, is the one how I discovered this story. Okay, I saw that video. I put the link in it from Nate the Lawyer. And, you know, I was a little surprised at what he was saying. And, talking about Don Lemon, and I'm thinking Don Lemon. I mean, I know Don Lemon's a controversial figure. And they were saying, he breaking rules and whatnot, and he stepping on toes with black folks that been through all kinds of stuff and got a law to stop the KKK from bothering black folks back in the day. And Don Lemon, out of all people, don't seem to care about this law and just walked all over it. I was like, why? That don't sound right. Now, I know Don Lemon's a controversial dude to a certain respect. Okay. I know there's a certain contingent of black folks who don't really like dude. Okay. And they have some good reasons, to my understanding, to not to like this dude. Now, me, Don Lemon never mattered that much to me. I'm just going to keep it real. He just ain't never mattered that much to me. But I do understand he is a controversial figure. It's not like I watched a whole lot of Don Lemon's newscasts. And I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I didn't really watch him on television like that. So, I seen him here and there. I know who he was, but I do understand that he was a controversial figure. And I do believe that he tries to garner certain things by, number one, he's gay, which he kind of threw it in this story, being a gay black man, me. Bro, I can't see nothing in the angle of him being gay that has anything to do with this. I'm just gonna keep it real. Now, they say he just be throwing stuff in here and there to create controversies and all that, or to get people to lean toward the side. And as I was watching some stuff with, around this story, there is some type of response he had, or with Nicki Minaj, and people were saying, well, why they think they putting you on this and whatever. And he was like, I'm a gay black man. I mean, he is a gay black man. He's admitted that years and years ago. So that's not news. I don't see where being gay got anything to do with this. But I said I had to look into the story a little bit, because if a black man is crossing laws that was designed to protect black people from the KKK, I mean, I understand in this country it's like all laws are supposed to fit for all people, but if the reason the law exists was to keep black people from the KKK, putting them in harm's way, then as a reporter, as a black man, Don Lemon's supposed to know something about this. He's supposed to know something, And shout out to Jerome Payne. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. He says, long live the Roger Report. Appreciate that super chat, my brother. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And hey, God willing, it's gonna be here, y'all. It's gonna be here. Only God gonna stop me, y'all. Only God gonna stop me, and that's real talk. Okay. Afro Merchant say Don switched teams more than once. Well, that might have something to do with how controversial he's supposed to be as a figure. And I'm gonna say I was a little surprised to hear somebody talking about how Don Lemon is breaking laws that were literally designed to protect black folks from the tyranny of the KKK. I said, that's interesting. What law did he break? Okay. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I decided that I was going to do this show today before I even got into the nooks and crannies of this story, y'all. I said, okay, we're going to do this one. We doing this. Okay, we doing this. And I'm going to check into this story, and it's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be what it's going to be. Okay? I'm going to say, y'all, I see some stuff going on now. I'm going to say I do truly believe I see some stuff going on. I saw this group of people. Okay. Now, I never heard them make a claim. I mean, I've seen people covering the thing. I looked at news stories and things trying to see what's going on. I'm gonna say people throughout Black Lives Matter. I've never seen the group claim they were Black Lives Matter, so I'm not gonna say that's who they are because I didn't see them actually make the claim. And a lot of people, even yes, mainstream media sometimes will just throw names on people that don't fit. So I don't know anything about Black Lives Matter having anything to do with this. I'm not saying that organization. Yeah, y'all remember the Black Lives Matter organization is very different than the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter organization was funded by some white guy and had 3 lesbian Black women out front. And they've been involved in a lot of corruption based on reports. Okay. The Black Lives Matter movement is Black men who are doing things to make the Black community better. 2 different things. No white man behind the sheet funding it. It's just straight up grassroots, getting down to business, making stuff better. But that's been led by Black men. So make sure you never separate. Make sure you always keep the movement separated from that organization that some white guy funded. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep the movement that Black men have away from that organization that some white man funded. And if a white man is funding Black Lives Matter, y'all should have already known something bad. It wasn't going to be all that great, okay? It wasn't going to be all that great. That's just not the pattern of white people, you know? And I understand that maybe a white person was offended by that, but let's just keep it real. That ain't the pattern of white people. When white people fund something for Black people, it usually ain't going to come out good. Just is what it is. Shout out to Jerome Payne one more again. He says, pun intended, they love inserting themselves. LGBTQLMOP. Well, I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna say this. Don Lemon is a reporter. We know he's a reporter. All right. Don Lemon, you know, to my understanding, always tried to make sure he was good with white folks. But at some point in time, Don Lemon, you know, according to white people, forgot who he was. And they had to put him back in his quote unquote place. So he was making big money out there as a gay Black man, you know, advertising that boldly because of how things are working in Hollywood, is to my understanding. That's what I would guesstimate. Because how things are working in Hollywood, and Hollywood likes to have gay Black men out front. You know, they try to promote it like it's a whole bunch of gay Black men out there. You know, he used that, and he was getting funds. You know, Don was getting that check because he was the openly gay Black man who was down to report on anything white folks want him to report on. Okay, so he was getting that money. He definitely was getting that money. Shout out to all my hoes to monetize. He said, refund for Mr. Jerome Payne. Shout out to y'all, my hoes to monetize. I'm gonna tell you this. After the show, we'll look into that and we'll see if we can get something worked out. That's how you do that, y'all. You say all the stuff off air. And, you know, you make it sound like something, even though it's nothing. We're gonna look into that, all my hoes to monetize. We're gonna figure something out for Jerome Payne. And we're gonna work that out during non-show hours. Okay, we're gonna work that out during non-show hours. We'll come to an agreement, okay? Shout out to both of y'all, though. Shout out to all my hoes to monetize. And shout out to Mr. Jerome Payne. Appreciate you both. Real talk. Appreciate you both, especially for helping me get off to a nice, good start. You know, Don Lemon, who is now in a position that I personally did not expect him to end up in. Okay, when I kind of found out who Don Lemon was and how Don Lemon was moving and things like that, I didn't expect Don Lemon to end up being in the position that he's in right now. And you may be saying, well, what position are you talking about? Oh, I thought Don Lemon was going to have a long career working for them white folk. That's what I thought. I thought he was going to have a good long career working for them white folk. That's what I really thought. And then all of a sudden, they done fired that man. Somebody spilled the lemonade. Ain't that about nothing, y'all? Somebody spilled the lemonade. But Don say, hey, I see how society is, and I got a superpower. I am a gay black man, and I'm gonna make stuff happen for myself. Now, let's keep it real, y'all. It ain't like being gay is illegal, okay? Not in America, anyway. Shout out to all my people listening around the world, because I do know technically it is gay in some places too. I mean, it is illegal in some places to be gay, but that's not America, okay? He over here. So now, a lot of stuff is going on with this ICE stuff, y'all. And as I looked into this story and looked into a couple other things, y'all, I'm starting to see a pattern. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I'm seeing a pattern. All right. Now, Don Lemon met up with some folk. You know, if you seen the link of Donald Trump, he say, folks out here getting paid, y'all. Folks out here getting paid to be disruptive. You know, talked about some woman who's saying shame, shame. Is he right? I'm thinking Donald might have a point. He might have a point on this one. If you got a woman somewhere talking about shame, yeah, that sound phony to me. I'm gonna keep it real. It sounds phony to me. Okay, I can't tell you who she is or who she worked for, but it shows sound phony to me. And that's just real talk. Now I said, let me see what the officials got to say about this. Let me see what the officials got to say. I heard what Nate the lawyer had to say, because like I said, this was my introduction into this situation going on. But I said, let me look at some other stuff. You know, and you got from the president down, they talking about Don cool. I ain't saying they saying he's a cool person. He cool on these charges that people are saying that Don gonna get. I seen other black folks making their little commentaries here and there about this and that. And black folks was like, yeah, Don did this and Don did that. Y'all, I'm gonna keep it real, okay? I'm gonna keep it real. Now, am I gonna agree with what Don got to say about a bunch of stuff? Probably not. Okay, I'm gonna say that. I did not actively watch Don when he was working for white folk. Okay, I did not actively watch Don when he was working for white folk. I'm just keep it real. I understand the position that Don supposedly had was basically some type of anti-black position, or he would tell certain stories that make white people look good and black people look bad. How true all that stuff is, I don't really know, because I didn't watch dude. I'm just keeping it real. I didn't watch him. Okay. Does Don Lemon hold a lot of weight with me? Not really. If Don Lemon hear this, hey man, it ain't personal. It's just been. I'm just telling the truth, bro. I'm just telling the truth. Okay, I ain't watch you like that. Now I do understand that since Don got fired, he said, you know what? I'm gonna keep on reporting. I'm gonna do it myself. Now I'm gonna say shout out to you for employing yourself and doing the thing that you love to do. I'm gonna say shout out to you for that. As a black man, shout out to you for that. Now, what you do with that, you know, that'll have some determination on how you'll be remembered. But shout out to you for, doing what you want to do, doing the thing you love and making it happen for yourself. Proud of you for that. Okay. Now, they say you interject that gay stuff in where it don't belong. And I'm going to say it looks that way because of what I happened to see when I dug into this story where, he was being interviewed and, people say, well, why is Don Lemon name on this? And, I'm a gay black man. No, Don the only celebrity involved. This ain't got nothing to do with you being gay. You're the only quote unquote celebrity involved. There are no other celebrities in the story. So of course they're going to put your name on it. That only makes sense. Okay. People try to do things when you have a celebrity name. Now I am going to say this. I think a lot of people are reacting because they're thinking about the fact that Don is a nigger. Okay. And I told y'all, if you were born in this country, if you were raised in this country, you have been taught to be a white supremacist. Now, I'm not going to say that places around the world don't have white supremacy being pumped over to them, because it obviously it has. Now, I know you a white supremacist if you were born and raised in this country. Well, I should say, and you've been to like public school, okay? You've been watching the television shows, you've been watching the movies, you've been reading the books, the magazines, basically everything you've accepted in America has been something that had the approval of white supremacy on it. Okay, from a general standpoint. So I get it. And it's hard for people to shake this stuff off. And there's people who are content creators, they've been trained to be white supremacists themselves. And guess what? I think a lot of people see Don Lemon and they see nigga. All right? I'm gonna keep it real. They see nigga. Now, the more and more I looked into this situation, I say, okay, well, Don Lemon has his own show. He still does his reporting on the stuff that he wants to report on. I can't be mad at him for that. Can't be mad at him for that. Now, he said something about his brand of Christianity. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of chuckled when I heard. I mean, he went to this church, y'all. He's doing an interview, and he said something about his brand of Christianity. I just kind of chuckled, okay? Now, why did I chuckle? Because I understand the Bible says for two men to lay down together is an abomination. So that's not God supported. So I don't know what kind of brand of Christianity you have, unless it's some type of fake Christianity. Now, I'm not accusing him. I'm just saying I don't know what kind it is. Because to my understanding, being a Christian is supposed to be about following Christ. That's my understanding of Christianity. Now, maybe he understands it to be something else. So when he said it's not my brand of Christianity, I just kind of chuckled, because what brand of Christianity would a gay person be involved with? Okay. Now, I'm not saying it's bad for gay people to go to church. Okay, because I think the love of the Lord can hit anybody. And it can even pierce whatever's in your spirit that has you operating as a gay person. Yes, I do believe God himself can fix that. And I know that's hard for some people, that's controversial for some people, but hey, God can do whatever he wants to do. And that's just the way it works. Okay, he can do whatever he wants to do. If he can create you, he can help you in a situation where you're doing something that's 100% against him. He still has the ability to help you. The only question is, will he? So I just kind of chuckled when I heard him say, not my brand of Christianity. Now, I'm not mad at Don for whatever he worshiped. In America, you have religious freedom. But see, now this is the thing. You had a church that was using their religious freedom, and some people kind of stormed in on them and was trying to interrupt them from using their religious freedom. And I can understand when you say that out loud, you can see how they made laws to stop the Klan from disrupting people's from disrupting people's use of their religious freedom. See, when you say it out loud, it sounds right. Okay. So yeah, I asked myself, what's really going on here? What's really going on here? And according to the reports, the pastor of this particular church, see, he holds a position in ICE. He's somewhat of a shot caller. He holds a position. Okay. He's not just necessarily an agent on the field. He has a position with ICE. Now, this is the thing, y'all. People look at ICE in certain ways, and people say, as Christians, you got to look out for people. Nothing wrong with looking out for people. Charity is charity. I've explained charity a lot, and I'm going to continue to explain charity. Charity means you give what you want to give. It's not forced giving. It's not charity. Okay, you give what you want to give when you're doing charitable work. Okay? And there are some people who believe that because America is America and it's as great as it is, America should give charity to illegal immigrants. Now, this is the thing. America already allows immigrants to come in, so we have a policy to let people in. So the charity is available. So since the charity is available, why would you come and do it in an illegal way? That don't make sense to me. If you could just come in legally, why not just go the legal way? Now, people may say, well, the legal way is too hard. Well, that's not up for you to decide because it's not your country. If Americans really believe that becoming a legal citizen in America is too difficult, then Americans should get together to change the rules on how to become a legal citizen in this country. We literally can do that. So I'm not looking at excuses. Now, I saw Don Lemon talk about these folks, even name the name of the young lady who was putting this stuff together. And y'all, it was some black woman. Now, I'm going to tell you this, y'all. With this story and another story that, my eyes kind of got woke up to last night. My personal belief at this point is they're going to force black people to be a part of this illegal immigration narrative. That's what seems to be going on in this country. They're trying to force black people to be a part of this illegal immigrant narrative going on. I have no clue why any black person would care about this illegal immigrant situation. People come to this country illegally. People should just get put out. I ain't worried about their age. I ain't worried about their status. I ain't worried about what family they belong to, any of that stuff. If you came here illegal, just get out. I don't see the problem with this. But I have noticed that there's not a whole lot of black folks being involved in this situation. Okay? It's not a lot of black folks being involved in this situation. So I guess what people are trying to manufacture, and I've been living in America my whole life, so I kind of understand how some of this stuff go. Shout out to Trey Billy. I see what you're doing down there, brother. I see what you're doing. He said, why come in through the back door? I see what you're doing, brother. Now, the front door is open. Let's keep it real. The front door is open. So why come in the back door? I'm just saying. Now, and Trey Billy did ask, he said, is she FBA straight? Now, we don't know that either. We just saw some black lady. If you seen the footage, you just see some black lady. You don't know what she is, okay? You don't know what she is. Now, I'm going to keep it real, y'all. Do I think there's people behind the scenes trying to influence stuff? Oh, I absolutely do. Now, again, y'all, why did this church get chosen? It seems, according to the reports, the pastor of the church has some type of position in ICE. Okay? He has some type of position in ICE. So that's why they picked this particular church. Now, shout out to Jerome Payne one more again. He say, oh no, let them illegals go. My couch, my choice. Shout out to you, Jerome. And see, I don't understand why black people can't really figure out that is just a smart, easy position to take. Why are we worried about illegals being put out? I understand you saying something about illegals coming in. But why would you understand? I mean, why would you be tripping on illegals being put out? That don't even make sense. So now, some folks put this stuff together, y'all. Now, obviously, some white folks was involved, but the way Don Lemon reported it, they had to get their white allies. Okay. Now, maybe that's why Don Lemon been looked at as controversial in the past, because he's talking about, they wanted some white allies there. Now, how do we know the white people ain't really doing it? But regardless of that, they came on this church because this church, the pastor is the person who has a position in ICE. So you gonna stop church service because the pastor holds a position in ICE? Now, number one, I'm like, come on, man, come on. You gonna hold up service because a pastor got a position in ICE? Like the pastor can't have a job, okay? The pastor can't have a job. That's interesting. So the pastor can't have a job. Now, I get it. It ain't just about the fact that the pastor has a job. The pastor has a job where he's working with ICE to put illegals out of the country. Now, I'm going to just keep it real, y'all. Once I heard he works with ICE to put illegals out the country, I'm still trying to figure out what the problem is. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so where's the actual problem? He has a job. His job helps remove people from a country that they're not supposed to be in. This don't sound like a bad thing to me. Okay? I don't hear what a problem is. So you gonna protest his church because he's helping get people out the country that don't belong here? Now, again, y'all, a lot of people buy into this quote unquote crime narrative. All right, well, some of these illegals are criminals, but some of them are not. If you're an illegal, you're automatically a criminal. It's that simple at the end of the day. You may basically do everything on the up and up and honest and all that, but if you're an illegal, you are literally a representation of criminality. Now, that may not sound good to people, but that's a real thing. Something don't have to sound good for it to be true. Okay? If you're an illegal, you are a criminal by default. Okay? You're a criminal by default. So I had to look at this and say, y'all, am I cool with people disrupting a pastor preaching the word of God to his flock? See, I understand people gonna get upset about different things here and there, but I gotta be real about what my priorities are. What's one of the great things that make America America? The freedom of the people. One of those freedoms is religious freedom. And unfortunately, sometimes you gotta allow people certain room to be immoral so you can be moral. I don't understand why some people is bothering this man during church service. Now I understand you protesting. I can even see you protesting, trying to get people not to go to his church. I can kind of see that. But why are you going in the church to disrupt the service? Like, what is that going to do? I don't even see how that would help anybody's cause. I don't get that. Now, if I was a pastor and you came into my church, okay, I think I would have a problem. I would probably handle it I would probably handle it differently than the way they did it. You know, we would have praised the mess. We'd have praised God, but we'd have did it in a way where they would have decided to leave. I'm going to say that, y'all. We would have praised God, but we would have did it in a way that they would have decided to leave. You know what I'm saying? And that's real talk. I don't get why you're trying to disrupt church service. The pastor is works for ICE. You're mad at the pastor. What they got to do with the church service? It's like nothing. Okay? Now, I got to say this, and usually I don't really make too many comments about the content creators that put stuff out, but I'm going to say I'm a little disappointed when I looked at this stuff because Nate the lawyer presented this stuff where he was kind of blaming Don Lemon for doing this illegal stuff. And when I looked into the story, Don Lemon was just covering the story. Now, maybe y'all have watched Don Lemon in the past. Maybe y'all know much more about him than I do. And y'all know why, any black person should not like this guy. Because I ain't saying ain't none of that valid. I'm not saying ain't none of that valid. I'm saying I don't pay attention to dude. Okay, it just is what it is. He ain't never struck me as the guy I got to get my news from. He just ain't never did it. Okay, all right. I mean, that ain't the end of the world. Not impressing Roger is not a crime. Okay, not impressing Roger is not a crime. But if he's doing news on the up and up, because as I look through everything people were saying in this particular situation, it seemed like Don Lemon was doing stuff on the up and up. Now, people would say, well, he did meet with the people. He met with some people that plan to disrupt the service. Is he disrupting the service? No. We even saw in the video that Don Lemon didn't even go in there to after them folks went in there to disrupt the service. Don Lemon, whether he realized it or not, intentionally did not go in so he wouldn't disrupt the service. Now, maybe you like him, maybe you don't. I don't know. Don't make me no difference either way, y'all. Don't make me no difference either way. Is it a legitimate thing to put Don Lemon on this? Not that I can tell. Now, maybe when some of the other guys come up, if they come up, maybe they got a different perspective. I can't see how this is a Don Lemon issue. Don Lemon was doing the news. Doing the news is a protected right. Okay? People have freedom of religion. That's a protected right. And people can do the news. That's also a protected right. So, who disrupted a protected right? Was it Don Lemon? Because Don Lemon was sitting in the car until something happened. So I heard the explanation that Nate the lawyer gave, and I'm like, bro, this foolishness. I mean, yeah, I heard it. I heard what he said. I saw what he presented. I put it in the description. I'm not saying he's wrong in what he's saying and the law exists and, people disrupted the law, but it wasn't Don Lemon. Don Lemon just came in behind them to cover the news story. He talked to the pastor. Yeah, he did talk to the pastor. The pastor was fine with him being there as long as he came there to worship. Now, if he was going to do something other than worship, yeah, he would prefer that he leave. Is a pastor allowed to think like that? Think like that? Yes. Now, I got to say, did Don Lemon create any disruption? Not that I can tell. I haven't seen the footage where he created disruption. He just followed a group of people in there. Now, why the people was in there in the first place don't make no sense to me, because why are you bothering some man's church because he happens to be involved with ICE? What is ICE doing that has you bothered? Yeah, and I'm going to tell you this, y'all, because I'm not about all that conspiracy stuff, but I am going to say, which I've said time and time again, I don't really believe in coincidences like that either. Okay, I don't really believe in coincidence like that. What I see going on in America right now is there's an issue about illegal immigration, and there's other things going on, but they're presenting an issue about illegal immigration. Now, my thing is, leave the illegal immigration as just illegal immigration. Stop trying to put a bunch of other stuff into it. I don't have no problem with any illegal immigrant getting put out of the country because they don't belong here. It's that simple at the end of the day. As an American, this is my house. If I didn't invite you in my house, get out of my house. Simple, easy to me. Now, what's going on that I've noticed about people making issues with immigration that's illegal, and then this organization, ICE, black folks ain't involved. That's what's going on, y'all. Black folks ain't involved. What I see happening, it looks like people are trying to make it where black folks are somehow involved. Now, when you have something with numbers this big, of course, you're going to be able to find a black person here or there. But black people ain't really involved in this. We not the illegal immigrants. Yeah, now, I mean, there's some Somalians that are illegal immigrants, and to my understanding, they are going after them to put them out the country too. I mean, what am I supposed to say about that? Even in the clips, you heard the white man talking about, what about your Somali brothers? My Somali brothers got to come in the country legally too. I mean, that's just what it is. My Somali brothers got to legally come into the country too. There is a way to do it. Okay, there is a way to do it. And I'm going to just keep it real, y'all. To my understanding, what you have to do to become a legal citizen in America is pass some tests. So you have to study. Now, I know America, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some money attached. Now, I don't know how quickly you got to come up with the money, and I don't know how much money you got to come up with. So I understand there's going to be some barrier to entry because this America. America going to charge you something. You ain't going to just come over here and get citizenship, don't pay you nothing. Now, they're going to charge you something. That's for sure. So why don't you just pay the fee? Okay? Now, people may say, well, Roger, what if the fee too big? Or, Roger, you're not being fair. Okay? Sometimes there's prices that people can't pay. Well, who are you talking to? That's first of all, I'm gonna ask you, who are you talking to? You talking to a man that grew up in this country. You think I don't have an understanding that everybody ain't got the money to pay a fee for something they want? You think I don't have that understanding? I done told y'all I don't come from money. I ain't got no rich daddy. You know, I ain't the son of Daddy Warbucks. My lineage literally goes back into slavery. I know everybody ain't got it. Do you know what they tell me as an American black man? They tell me you better go get it. That's what they tell me. So if they tell me I better go get it, what you want me to tell somebody who don't even belong here? What you want me to tell them? You better go get it. It just is what it is. Okay? There's white people in this country, y'all. It's white men that, for some reason, couldn't figure out how to be successful in the country designed for them to be successful in. You know what I tell them? They better go get it. It is what it is. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You better go get it. That's what I got to do. Oh, Roger, that's not right. What's not right about it? If I got to go get it, why you ain't got to go get it? Well, Roger, everybody don't come into this country. Everybody here don't got no rich daddy. I ain't got no rich daddy. Now what? Well, see, as an American, you got access to what I got access to. I'm a black man. Well, you know, civil rights and black men ain't hardly got nothing because of civil rights. All that stuff got co-opted. Okay, black men ain't too much got nothing on those civil rights. So what you want me to tell you? I don't get it. What you looking for? Now I'm gonna say this. When I look into the Don Lemon situation, I see Don Lemon covering the story. I understand there's some people out there that have a problem with Don Lemon because of stuff he's done in the past. That ain't got nothing to do with the story today. I saw Don Lemon cover people who went to disrupt the service. So why would Don Lemon get arrested? Now, I'm going to say this too, y'all. It's somewhat crazy when you got white people in power taking a position that this nigga don't need to be arrested, but he ain't working for the white folks no more. Now, I get it. And if he was working for white people, I get it. All right? Now, I'm going to admit, I don't watch his channel. I know Don Lemon got a channel he worked for himself. As a black man, I'm glad he's working for himself. But do I watch the stuff that he covers on his channel? Absolutely not. So do I really know his political positions or anything like that? No, I don't. All I know is in this particular story, Don Lemon followed some people who went into a church to bother people who ain't got nothing to do with ICE. But it's only one guy and he just happened to be a pastor. It's not like he was preaching a service about it. He preaching a service about God, the Bible, or something. He ain't preaching about come join us at ICE. So while they disrupted the church to quote unquote hold him to account, I didn't see the real purpose in that, y'all. I didn't see a real purpose in that. I'm gonna say to all the black folks involved, go find something better to do. Why are you bothering some guy for putting the illegals out the country? Find you something better to do. Now, sometimes y'all it's about personalities. See, a lot of folks, they don't want it to be about a thing. I gotta let it be about a thing. It ain't about the person involved. It's just, this is legal, this is not legal. This is legal, this is not legal. Is it legal for people to come into the country legal? No, it's not. It's in the name, no, it's not legal to come into the country illegally. Should somebody put out people who came into the country illegally? Yes. All right. Who's doing it? Folks who work for ICE. So why would I have a problem with people who literally are putting people out who came in that wasn't supposed to be here in the first place? I don't see why I would have a problem with that. So no, I don't got no problem with that. Now, if you work for ICE, that means you shouldn't run a church? No, because they have nothing to do with each other. Now, am I going to blame Don Lemon for a group of people being dumb enough to act like the Klan? Okay. Am I going to blame Don Lemon for a group of people being dumb enough to act like the Klan? No. Now, I got to say, real talk. When you're doing stuff and people can not just talk, but legitimately compare you to the Klan, maybe you should think about what you're doing. Okay? Maybe you really should think about what you're doing. If you are doing stuff that they can truly, honestly make a real comparison to what you're doing and what the KKK was doing, just maybe you should think about it. You gonna terrorize people who go to church? I mean, come on, man. Come on. But I'm gonna say, why do they want Don Lemon to be the face of it? Okay. Why do they want Don Lemon to be the face of it? I think because he a nigga. That's real talk. It is people who are covering these stories that want Don Lemon to be the face. The government ain't even after Don Lemon. They said we straight. Well, I guess technically you always gonna have some people who want them and some people who don't want them. But when it came time to sign off, okay, the official government representative said, "No, I ain't signing." Okay, I ain't signing. Now I gotta look at, if I was in that man's position, based on the information I have available to me, would I go after Don Lemon? No, he just covered a news story. Now, what I'm not gonna do is get up here and say black folks can't cover news stories. Because y'all, again, I gotta pick my priorities. Okay. Now shout out to Q 4828. He said, Roger, who cares about legal and illegal? No one. That's a statement in itself. Roger, who cares about legal or illegal? No one who wins plays by the rules. The rules are meant to hold the people back while the felons and criminals get ahead. Well, you know what? if we don't care about the rules, we can't have water. And that's just the way it goes. I definitely get what you're saying, but you cannot have order unless there are rules that people have to go by. Shout out to Jerome Payne. He say other countries will kick you out if you overstay or come in illegally. Fines and jail time you get, but America, we gave free room and board as long as you the buffer class. Come on in. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Jerome Payne. I think Jerome Payne is understanding this the way it needs to be understood. And that's just real talk. I think you getting this the way it needs to be understood. And I'm definitely not gonna say Don Lemon ain't been involved in some crazy stuff back in the day. I'm not gonna say Don Lemon ain't took some positions where he should not have been he should have been ashamed of himself. But I am gonna be realistic. I don't follow Don Lemon like that. Now, the positions that he took probably is why I don't follow Don Lemon. But I still gotta call a spade a spade. Why can't Don Lemon cover a news story? See, I'm not gonna say Don Lemon can't cover a news story because he is a black man. And if I'm gonna say Don Lemon can't cover a news story, I'm for no reason. I mean, if there's a legitimate reason somewhere, cool, but that has to be introduced. But to just blankly say, well, no, he can't cover a news story. No, that's like saying other black men can't cover news story. And Lord knows, black men need to cover news stories. That's just real talk, y'all. Black men need to cover way more news stories than what they cover now already. We ain't doing nowhere near enough. Okay, we ain't doing nowhere near enough. We need more. Now, which black men gonna step up to the plate? The right people who truly believe that this is the job they need to do. Do it if you call to it. I ain't saying everybody just needs to go out there and cover news stories. No, everybody got to help in the way that feels right for them to help or how they're comfortable helping. You know who you are as a person. Some people are supposed to do things. Other people are not supposed to do those things. So if you know this is what you're supposed to do, come on and join the fun. Now, if you're supposed to be doing something else, then do something else. We need people doing all kinds of stuff. We need military folks. We need doctors. We need lawyers. We need business owners. We definitely need more black employers. We need all these different things as men. So do what you know is right for you to do. So now, Don Lemon, whether I like him or not, I'm not finna sit and act like this man can't cover the news now. Did he break a law? No, he is a person covering people who broke a law. That's the way it looked to me. All right, I heard all these different things. Nate Delory gave a breakdown on what makes something illegal or not. He said it's up to the viewers to decide whether it's bro, I think you already know. Don Lemon simply covered people doing something. He didn't do it himself. And the fact that you put the clip in there showing that Don Lemon wouldn't even go in until after the people went in, what more you need the man to do? Okay? And shout out to Q. Q says, Roger, the current administration does not and are not playing by the law nor the rules. They are making the rules up as it suits them. And the thing is, as American people, we supposed to be the ones holding them accountable for that. Do we not know that? Okay. We supposed to be the ones holding them accountable for that. And you have to not comply with stuff that's illegal. That's how you do that. You don't comply with stuff that's illegal. And we definitely shouldn't promote illegal stuff. And I'm going to say, when it comes to this Don Lemon situation, whether you dislike him or not for stuff that he's done in the past, because I get it. He done did something in the past where people kind of pissed off at him or whatever the case is, or they may view him as a sellout, okay? They may view him as problematic to the black community. I think all that stuff could very well be true because I understand what how people talked about this guy years ago. Okay, so I know he's not stellar with black folks. I totally get that, but I can't come out here and say a man can't cover a news story because that don't make sense. Why wouldn't a black man be able to cover a news story? Now I'm gonna say, if anything, I would say shame on the people who try to disrupt a worship service. Because if you're gonna stop somebody from using their constitutionally protected rights, they're not constitutional rights, y'all. Y'all do know the Constitution does not grant you rights. The Constitution just simply acknowledges rights your Creator gave you and gives you a framework to protect your rights. But the Constitution doesn't give you rights. So my thing is, if you got a problem with somebody else using their rights, but you feel like you can use your own rights, now you acting like you better than somebody. And I can't rock with that, y'all. I ain't finna rock with that. You trying to put yourself above somebody else, yeah, I can't rock with that. You know, and I can't say a black man can't cover a news story. It just don't make sense to me. It's a news story. The man obviously was tipped off that something was going down. He got himself in position to capture what's going down. Now, the people involved, obviously, you know, I'm going to say they was dumb enough to tip him off that they finna go break the law so he can catch it on film. These are not smart decisions. I don't know who's making what decisions, but people are not making smart decisions in this scenario. So you contacted him to cover you break the law? That don't sound intelligent to me. What I need to know, 100% for sure, when I go in here and break this law and stop these people from worshiping, I need to know that somebody got it and it's going to get uploaded. It's going to be in the news cycle. I need to know that there's going to be proof I came in and break the law. That was super stupid. But then as I looked at the story, to blame Don Lemon for what an organization does that he ain't got nothing to do with, that's stupid. Now, I know that's not a real word. I get it. But that's how dumb it is. That's stupid. He ain't got nothing to do with it. All right. And I'm going to say, as a black man, if you get off into this news thing, you cover what you want to cover. Real talk. Okay, you cover what you want to cover. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and can't cover. You cover whatever you want to cover. Now, I'm going to say, please be smart about what you cover. Make sense that's what you want to cover. Because, you know, you're taking positions that you choose what to cover and what not to cover. It's an unfortunate situation. Okay? It's an unfortunate situation. But again, life ain't fair. But I ain't got no problem with Don Lemon covering some people acting a fool at a church. Because at the end of the day, they went there to disrupt somebody's rights. Protected rights. I can't say that's bad. Okay? What I mean by that is, I can't say a black man covering a news story where someone's doing bad to people is a bad thing. No, that's a good thing to cover. Okay, it's a good thing to cover. I'm going to say, I feel sorry that some black folks was dumb enough to go get themselves involved. Not Don Lemon and his people, because they just covered the story. But black people who are actually, why y'all bothered with ICE getting rid of people who are illegal citizens, y'all? And that's what I see going on. When I'm seeing a lot of different stuff going along across the country right now, y'all, I'm not really, now, I guess this is what people going to say. ICE ain't going about things in the right way. That's what people are going to say. Okay, cool. Okay. Do something to get them to go about it in the right way. But them putting out illegals, is not how you get them to do things the right way. And I see people having a problem with them putting illegals out. I don't see people having a problem with them because they're not doing it the right way. And I'm telling you what I'm seeing. Okay? When I see what people got to say about this stuff, when I see these news stories and all that, I don't see people really having an issue with how ICE is operating. The bigger issue seems to be that ICE putting out folks that don't belong here. Yeah. And I'm going to say, there's a reason that Renee Goodlady's name going to be brought up so many times. It's going to be because they don't care about how ICE is operating. They care about the fact that ICE is putting out illegal people. And if you're not a billionaire who owns some company, or at least a multi-millionaire who owns some company, and you got illegals working for you under the table, I don't understand why you care. And I'm definitely not going to say a black man can't cover the story. Yeah, a black man can cover whatever story he want to cover. He a black man. He can cover whatever story he want to cover. Now, he may cover some stories that I wouldn't cover. Based on the stuff I done heard about Don Lemon at this point, we probably wouldn't see eye to eye about a lot of stuff based on what I've heard about the guy. But I can't act like the man can't cover a story. That don't make a lot of sense to me. The man can cover a story. Now, he probably should choose better stories than what he do, but I'm not going to even say that because I do not watch his channel. I know he has a channel. I know he has the Don Lemon show that I do not watch. I am not a fan. Okay? It just is what it is. I ain't a fan. But I can't say the man can't cover a story. And I'm going to say if people are rooting for Don Lemon to go down because he covered a story of people bothering that church, I got a question where you at. Because this the thing, y'all. It's a bunch of white folks. When you look at when you look at the footage, y'all, what do y'all see? Y'all see a bunch of white people. Why they trying to make black people the face of this thing? As all this stuff been going on about these illegal immigrants, people keep trying to bring back black people into it. Okay? It seems to be something going on where this country want to make black people the face of it, and we ain't got nothing to do with it. Number one, we not the illegals. Okay? Not FBA folks, and not all the immigrants that came over the legal way. The people who got their paperwork done. This ain't got nothing to do with us. But people want us to be involved for some reason. And I honestly think the reason that people are trying to make Don Lemon part of this is because he's a nigga. Let's protect the white folks that was involved. Because when you look inside that church, the people on both sides seem to be white. Now, they showed the black woman. Don Lemon, I guess, to be quote-unquote fair or balanced, or maybe he's trying to skew it against black people. Maybe he don't like people liking black people. That could be the case, too. Because he put that black woman out there. He said her name. But when you look at that church, just a bunch of white folks, y'all. So I guess Don Lemon didn't do a good enough job to hurt black people's reputation in this. So I guess they're just going to take Don Lemon and just put him on the story and make it a story about him. And my thing is, why? He had his camera crew. He did the news. Now, you ain't got to like how he do the news. Again, you ain't got to like what he cover in the news. But as a black man, am I going to sit here and say he can't do the news? No, I ain't finna say that. That's crazy. One thing that anybody who grew up in America should know, the way white supremacy does with mainstream media, you definitely need more black men out here doing news. Now, again, he's a strange one. He happens to be a strange one. He said, I don't agree with their version of Christianity. He said something about that, you know, or at least implied that there was some white supremacy involved in their version of Christianity. But he's a gay man who said he a Christian. So, hey, I don't know whose version of Christianity is funnier. Okay. Because to my understanding, again, to be a Christian is to be a follower of Christ. I know Christ was not teaching white supremacy, and he was also not teaching that you could be involved in a same-sex marriage and it's going to be okay. So, yeah, all of it's a little nutty. All of it is a little nutty. But am I going to sit here and say a black man can't cover the news? No, I ain't doing that one. And I think that, see, sometimes y'all, they throw stuff in to get you to go down some road that don't really make sense for you to go down. Okay? Now, I decided yesterday I was going to do the Don Lemon story, like I said, before I even really knew the nuts and bolts of it and really got involved. I said, okay, we're doing this one today. The more and more I looked into it, the more and more I saw some nonsense. Why are we trying to pin this on Don Lemon? Because now he is right about the fact that he is a black man. It ain't got nothing to do with him being gay. But he is a black man. And obviously there's something going on across this country, y'all, where they want to make black men the face of something where we're trying to stop illegal immigrants from being put out. So this is definitely being politicized. Okay. Don Lemon right now, he the famous nigga. Because I told y'all how people look at us in this country, y'all. As black men, they still look at us as niggas. So Don Lemon is the famous nigga right now. They don't have another nigga more famous than him right now. So his name is being attached because if they can make this narrative stick, they have a good reason to come after niggas. And that's all this is. This is just another setup to be mad at black men. This is the same game that they've been playing since before this country was the country that it is today. This is a pre-1776 game that they playing. You know, now, just because Don Lemon is gay does not mean he's going to be protected in all ways. And I understand gay folks done did a great job to give themselves certain protections. But he's still a nigga. You know, I know to the gay community, they might be mad or upset about something. This ain't got nothing to do with that, y'all. This is because he a nigga. Gay don't save you for being a nigga. You know, now you can work it as best you can. Because let's keep it real. America wants to have gay black men out front. That's what America wants. Okay? But being gay ain't going to save you from being a nigga. All right? It's just, it ain't that powerful. All right? It just ain't that powerful. Shout out to my main man, Landon. Appreciate the super chat. He says, Pond Lemon. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Don got something. Don obviously has a policy where he'll give you something and he'll take it right back. He'll give you something and then he'll take it right back. And it also seems that you can give him something and then take it right back. You can give him something and then take it right back. You'd also do something like that in a pawn shop. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I don't know what type of Christianity Don talking about. He on that, I guess maybe he on that super light Christianity where abominations are accepted, you know. But even if you're gay, I can't say the man can't cover the news story, man. Come on now. What I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with this? Okay, he's gay. Who cares? It has literally nothing to do with the story. The story ain't even about black folks. Even the people that was attending the church, I ain't seen no black folks, y'all. I ain't seen no black folks. I seen a bunch of white people in there going to church. Okay, even if the church is under some guy who happens to work for ICE. First of all, I'm gonna say shout out to white people for going to church at all. Okay, shout out to white people for going to church at all. Okay. When I think about people who love the Lord, they don't really come up in my mind. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it real. When I think about people who love the Lord, they don't really come up in my mind. So shout out to white people for going to church at all. Okay. Now I can't say what they teaching at the church. Okay. I can't say the church is trying to help them be better people. I don't know what they teach. Because we had these people come disrupt the service. So I don't know what they teaching at this white church. Hopefully they teaching them some real Christianity that's straight out that Bible. That's what I can hope for. Now, shout out to Bucket. He said, I appreciate the message, Roger. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Real talk. I definitely appreciate you saying that. And y'all, and I understand people can feel some type of way. And some people may feel some type of way because of Don Lemon's past. Again, I don't even know his past like that. I know a lot of black folks told me he be on some shaky stuff. Okay. Black people say he done did a lot of stuff where he should quote unquote be accosted. That ain't got nothing to do with this particular story. He's a black man who followed a group of people in who were acting like the KKK. And I gotta say, as a black man, should he be allowed to do the news? Yes. Could he pick better things to do the news on? Possibly. I'm not saying he wrong for picking this particular story. I actually can appreciate the fact that he picked this particular story and how he's covering something that has Ku Klux Klan implications in it. But I'm not going to lose the fact there was a bunch of white folks involved in this. I'm not going to lose sight of that fact just because you slapped Don Lemon out front. Okay? Crazy word. But I ain't losing that fact. Okay. Now, ICE, can it operate better? Sure. But I want ICE to do its job. Okay. I am not pro illegal immigrant. I'm pro legal immigrant, but I'm not pro illegal immigrant. And I don't care how you got here illegal. The details don't matter to me. But I'm gonna slow down right here and give it to my main man, Truth Teller, and we gonna see what he do with it. What's going on, my brother?
Good morning, y'all. Just jumped in for a real quick take. Just want to make sure you got that thingamabob, and if you're gonna use it this weekend, is all I'm gonna say. Go ahead and do your thing, player. Go ahead and do your
It's
thing.
a good weekend to use it, brother. It's gonna be cold in the mofo out here.
But yeah, this whole listen, man. I don't even like defending Don Lemon because I just don't like the dude. But I'm not going to defend him in this case either. He violated, right?
So I'm gonna keep it consistent.
I'm gonna keep it consistent. He violated when he stepped through the doorway to try to make it seem like he was reporting, right? So when you're covering protests, he didn't have to go inside to cover the protests. Honestly, he didn't even have to go inside to interview the victims unless they said, hey, yeah, come on in, Don. We'll do an interview with you. He just bursted in along with the rest of them, which makes him an accessory. He is no longer under the guise of a reporter. So that's the first violation of what he did. Now, I don't care if he covers this story. It's fine. I've heard him talk about it. I don't really care. He has his own opinions on it. He likes for it to go the way it goes. But in this instance, when those people so think about this and how it's wrong. Let's say you don't like something Trump did, but there's some kid's family who supports Trump. You kick the door open in the school to protest this kid's family. That's absurd because what does the school and this kid got to do with the fact that you don't like Trump and what Trump is doing, right? So it's the same thing with church. That has nothing to do with what you're protesting. You're just trying to get them off guard. And basically, you're violating laws to do it. There's a difference between legal protesting and illegal protesting. And yes, folks, there is a such thing as illegal protesting. I know in the past, some of them folk called legal protesting illegal because they didn't like it. But you do need to understand that there is an illegal way of protesting and there are laws against it. So in this case, he was part of an illegal protest, which he should then suffer the consequences for his choice.
I'm gonna say shout out to you, truth teller. That I'm gonna say I can rock. That's a perfectly legitimate perspective to add to the table. Real talk, real talk. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all. Now let's keep it real. Reporters have been arrested in the past. Okay, so arresting a reporter wouldn't be a new thing. Now, him coming in at church the way he did, if they hit him with an accessory charge, I think that's kind of a hard. You might have a way there. You might have a way to hit him with the accessory charge. Okay, making him the face of it, I think is just completely stupid. But him being an accessory, you might have some legal room to do that.
Well, the fact that he knew about it beforehand, i.e., he was in position to go in, means he was aware of what was going to happen, and he didn't report it. He didn't report an illegal activity, and then he participated in it.
He showed them reported.
I mean, what is he going to argue? Now, this is low offense stuff. It's not like he's going to get thrown in jail or anything like that. But it is illegal to do that. Not only that, to be aware of it beforehand, and you're aware of it, and you didn't report it. That means you're in alignment. Because as a reporter, if you know something illegal is going to happen, you should report it. But, he didn't. So good luck to him.
All right.
Especially with this presidency.
Well, technically, it's a win-win for him either way. Because if he go to jail, they're going to put him in a male prison. So it's a win.
God damn, I was trying to stay away. I was trying. Pull me back to the abyss, Roger. Just trying.
But I'm gonna film good behavior and here look at Roger. All right. All right. Well, I'm just saying there's a bright side and a not so bright side to everything. So
bottoms up. Bottoms up. Everybody.
But I ain't gonna hold you up, Black Guru. Real quick. Shout out to Officer Franz Schmitz. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. He said, I bet it's grippy. Well, if this don't go the way he wanted it to go, it'll be a whole lot to grab on to. That's all I'm gonna say. He'll have I'm pretty sure he'll have a lot to talk about in his new situation if it don't go the way he would want it to go. But Black Guru, you got the flow, my brother. You got the flow.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for having me. I hope you and Truth Teller and folks in the public chat are doing well. It's interesting. I'm not an attorney. I don't know how it would necessarily work because apparently the federal judge of that particular district refused an arrest warrant to be issued against him. I'm sorry, Love. What's his name? John Lemon. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, in terms of will there be some forum shopping with respect to getting some other judge to approve a warrant? I mean, I don't know how it works if the first person who has the jurisdiction over issuing a warrant to refuse to do so. I don't really know what happens beyond that point, But again, if there's somebody out there in the crowd who's an attorney who could explain what would happen there, I would appreciate their legal opinion. As far as my view about you know, regardless of what I think about Lemon. Well, first of all, I don't think Lemon does this if he still works for CNN because, they have all their corporate attorneys, and I'm sure they would, maybe for the reasons that have been cited in this particular story, might have prohibited him from being as directly involved as he is alleged to have been involved. So, this may be a hazard of, working independently and not having, a department of people, whose job is to cover everybody as this legal standpoint. So that's probably why, Lemon might operate now in ways that he might have been less inclined to do so if he was still employed by CNN or some other major network or whatever. Those of us in Chicago recall Lemon worked here in the local news. I guess probably was in the late '80s into the 2000s or whatever. So he was well known to us here, but he joined CNN. So how that's going to go, like I say, I don't know, but my broader view of this is, there's been so much activity that the Trump administration, directly through his office as well as through his assorted departmental minions, they're all engaged in stuff that is of questionable legality. Killing people, in the Caribbean, essentially overturning, foreign governments, marauding, ICE people picking up and shooting American citizens. All the shit is of, at best, questionable legality. And very likely, much of this is illegal, highly illegal. And so, in an environment in which the people who in the highest elected positions are breaking laws, perhaps by the hundreds, over the last year, then you're kind of creating the very environment that causes this kind of incident to occur. So it's very difficult for me to get overly hyped up about what Lemon has or has not, the legality of what Lemon has or has not done, when you got ICE agents marauding throughout, the American streets and grabbing people, many of whom are in fact American citizens. So I guess I'll end my opening statement.
All right. Shout out to Turkish Tyrone. Okay. Shout out to Turkish Tyrone. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. He says, "Good morning, Roger. Thanks for all the great content. In 2013, Don used CNN to try to humiliate black people. Pull up your pants, clean up your area, etc. He showed his real character, Cosby style. I can't feel bad for him, bro. Hey, you know what? I'm going to say this. I done heard a whole lot about what Don Lemon do. I don't expect no black folks too much to feel bad for him. I'm not going to feel bad for him myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm just simply taking a stance that regardless of what he's done in the past, I can't I publicly disagree if you try to make it where he just can't cover a news story. Now, if they can legitimately charge him, unfortunately, that go with the territory. Okay? But I didn't see him as a person organizing this thing. I didn't see him as a person doing the ambush. The fact that I saw footage of him saying, well, no, we ain't going to go in until after they going to go in. To me, it gives him room to operate where he's kind of okay in this regard. Now, if you was a black person, you threw a milk carton in his head, I get it. I totally get it. Okay. I done seen some questionable things about that man back in the day. And like I said, I didn't watch Don Lemon. I saw a little of Don Lemon that made me know I didn't want to watch Don Lemon, and I've never watched the guy. And hopefully I don't have to sit down and start watching him. I'm gonna say thank God I really didn't need to watch his show to form some form of opinion or get some facts about this particular case, because I would have done it for content purposes. Lord, thank God I didn't need to. That's all I'm saying. Thank God I didn't need to. And I'm gonna give the flow to Shark Sims since he done came up. Go ahead, Shark.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, brother.
Hope everybody got their weed, their cigarettes, they roll up for the storm that's coming. And let's get into the nitty gritty. The clip we showed said a magistrate denied them to go and get Don Lemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
A magistrate is the lowest goddamn judge on the totem pole. He don't hold no weight. They just chose the wrong magistrate. So, like Uber was saying, they just got to find another magistrate to go and do this. Second of all, he violated. He was there conspiring with those people. When you look at his microphone, it says DL, and it don't mean for down low. It meant for Don Lemon. He is not part of any news institute, any news organization, right? They ran into a church. This is not a restaurant. This is not a school. They ran into a church. I don't know what the statute is or what the number of the law or the rule is, but your First Amendment does not trump my First Amendment. And your First Amendment is to be able to worship in the house of worship and be free to do so. By them running in there and trying to and saying they're using their First Amendment, it's a violation. Can't do that. Can't do that. You smell me? Third of all, it kills me because not everything is black and white all the time. Not all the time. Literally, that group that went in there was ridiculously stupid. They had white people with them. They had black people with them. It was mostly when Don was in the car talking, it would sound like he was talking to some other gay dude. So it's a bunch of these dumb liberals who just think they can do whatever they want to do. Literally whatever they want to do. Let me ask you a question. What if them white people in that church would have started busting heads? We would have had a problem with that, right? We would have these white people doing whatever they want to do in America. You can't. It's just bananas. And then on the fourth level, Don Lemon been against black people since he got the microphone for that news channel that he been with. This is just publicity for Don Lemon. This is just Don Lemon being messy. This is Don Lemon being an idiot. And that quote that he said as a Christian, they don't worship the same Christianity I worship. Nigga, you gay. You don't worship Christianity. You don't practice Christianity, period. Like black people, we make definitions up for whatever we want to make a definition up to fit whatever we want to fit. And that's not cool. And that's why I think we have so many problems with everything. Because it's like we just want to do whatever we want to do. And the passive black nigga, you going to get off. If he gets off because he's a gay black man. If he was a straight black man, his ass would be getting fried, diced, and sliced. If he was Roger Report, Uru, truth teller, he would be hung right now. And just because you got a microphone, that don't mean you a goddamn reporter. It really don't. Like that's disrespect to Tom Brokaw and Barbara Walters and all of them people. Like that does not mean you're not a yeah. Come on. And I closed it off. I know I went 2:30. I did a gold P on that one. I apologize. Bro.
Nah, you was all right. You was all right. You was in. All right, we got. Well, let me read this super chat. Then we'll get Great Black Reset in here. He said shout out to Jerome Payne. He said to the window, to the wall, to the lemonade drop, to the lemonade drip and fall on his knees. He crawled. Laugh out loud. All right. Shout out to you, Jerome Payne. Shout out to you for that, brother. Great Black Reset. We're going to take a music break to let you in.
Bro, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right. I have an interesting question, which I think will prove that Roger, once again, is covering a topic incorrectly.
Well, you might well not even ask that question.
Okay, so I want you to put a white face on Don Lemon, put white faces on all his co-conspirators, and put black faces on that church, and tell me how much vitriol would you have for this incident?
Well,
Man,
I already said earlier they can't go into no church being disruptive. The people who went in there to disrupt.
No. We are listen. You're covering it wrong. If those were white people interrupting a black church for the same exact reason and having that kind of attitude, how would you be covering this story? In all honesty,
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't. If it was about the reporter, I think I covered the same way. If it was
you
about
see,
the reporter,
y'all see how he's shuffling and moonwalking and all that there?
no, I'm not. I thought about it. I said if it's about the reporter, I'd be covering the same way.
It's not possible for me. It's not possible for me to view it equivalently because we don't have the same history.
No, I understand. And the history is
it's
important.
It's not even possible for me to view it that way. It ain't possible because we don't have the history of predating on other groups of people and marauding on other groups of people and burning crosses out in front of the houses. So it's impossible for me to see a scenario in which I could view black people under the same circumstances the same way.
This is why Don Lemon is dead wrong.
This is why he's dead wrong. Let me say this too, since you said that. Let me say this now. Keep in mind, I'm covering Don Lemon. What happened in the church is the background story. So now, if I was covering let's say a white reporter at a black church where white folks came in on the black church, that's something to say. But who am I actually covering? If I'm covering the white reporter, I wouldn't bring the reporter into it. Just like I'm saying, I wouldn't bring Don Lemon into it. They're just reporting. I do believe the people who interrupted that church service because they interfered with a protected right, all of them should be held accountable. Real talk. All of them should basically get arrested.
I believe Roger was a better breakdancer than he was a rapper. I believe that's what happened. Yeah.
He did that. He did that.
You did that one. You did that. That's pretty short there, fella. That's pretty short. I take exception to it.
I don't see where. It seemed like to me Roger made a very apt description of what happens here. What happened here?
Oh yeah.
This business. I think it's a slippery. I think it's a slippery slope. I think it's a slippery slope to go after media people and reporters and stuff in these matters. I think you create a situation in which anything that happens of any consequence, you got people now scared, professional people, scared to report on the shit for fear of being considered some kind of conspirator to it. Now,
he's not a professional person.
I ain't gonna take that from him.
This guy. Well, no, you cannot take away from him the fact that the man has been a television, professional news reporting guy for over 30 years. This is just not some guy off the street somewhere. And him not being his no longer being employed by CNN does not remove the fact that he's a professional reporter.
And you can't be a
He
professional
doesn't lose that
basketball
because
player.
he's no longer employed by CNN.
You can't be a professional basketball player if you're not in the NBA anymore. You was a professional basketball player. He was part of the media. He's no longer part of the
Totally
media. The
different things.
microphone said
Totally
Don
different
Lemon.
things. Because the difference in your analogy is the league of the NBA does determine whether or not you a professional NBA player. CNN is not the league of all the news.
No,
No
CNN is part
entity
of
is that.
CNN is part of media. He's not a
No,
part of any media
CNN
group.
is a billion-dollar corporation that performs news function, but it doesn't determine what is or is not news. CNN does not determine who is and is not a reporter or a journalist.
That's not
That's
what I
totally
said.
different from
Well,
the
yeah,
NBA.
That's
The
not my
I
NBA
that's
think
not
the
my
determines whether or
that's
not
not my
you are.
argument, Uru.
The
That
NBA
is not
determines whether you're an NBA player.
that's not my
I
argument,
think
Uru.
well, I'm just saying I think the problem is how he went about this, right? Because if he was an actual reporter, he wouldn't involve himself with a crime to
Thank
report.
you.
So if he would have stayed outside and waited for the church Christians to come out and tried to interview the guy, that's different than the dude's kicking the door and you follow behind him trying to get a story. That's different. So this is what I'm saying. We can say all this thin line. It really isn't a thin line because reporters always stand outside of buildings trying to take pictures and get comments from people. Suddenly, this nigga think he can roll in with the agitators and it's all gravy. I'm not part of them. Well, you came in with them. So what do you mean you ain't part of them? You knew about the plan and you came in. What do you want me to say? So we need to make sure we understand this and not try to just make it seem like he's doing this reporter thing because that ain't what reporters are supposed to do. You ain't supposed to be part of the crime.
Well, look, whether he broke the law, does not mean that he's not a reporter. You can't, there are reporters that do things and end up in jail. And you can make an argument as to whether or not he did in fact do that. Now you have a magistrate that thinks he didn't do it. Like you say, maybe you'll be able to forum shop to some other person of that authority that might elect to do otherwise. That's yet to be determined. I'm just
Well, I'm not
saying
talking about.
I don't discount his profession as a
Oh no,
reporter simply because he's done something that might have broken the law.
no, I'm not saying that. So I'm not questioning whether he's supposed to get charged or not get charged. All I'm saying is he participated in this activity. Now, whether he gets charged for a crime or not, that's not what's in question. We're arguing whether or not he's the face of this now. He performed an action that makes him the face. He was a famous person that partook in this activity. That's his fault because as a professional reporter, he knows that's not what he's supposed to do.
Thank you.
So at this point in time, he plastered his
I
own
agree with
face
that.
on this whole
I agree
situation.
with that.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm gonna
I
read
agree with
this since Black will agree with that. Let me get this read in. Shout out to Kunguru. He says if he gets off, it is because he is press or he is the press, and there is freedom of the press. Lemon is like Roger in that he is a black man that created his own news outlet. I appreciate you saying that, my brother. Appreciate you saying that, and I'm gonna get into that in a hot second. Shout out to Elder Blood. He says the real Illuminati, aka white men and black women, New World Order has been using, abusing, and running through black men like Don Lemon, backdoor establishing their kingdom. Hey, appreciate you, Elder Blood. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all. The Constitution helps to protect freedom of the press. That's what it helps to protect. It does not say you must work for a big news organization or outlet to be the press. It's just protecting the activity of being the press. So yes, anybody can be the press. Anybody can start reporting news. Understand this stuff was written up before a news organization was even big like they are now. I'm not going to say they didn't exist at all because, you had newspapers back in the day. It just protects you from the right as an individual to take on being the press. So anybody can take that on. You don't have to go to school for it to be the press. You have to go to school to be recognized by certain people, but you don't have to do anything to be the press except start reporting.
No,
The activity is protected,
no,
not
hold
the
on.
institution.
Hold on. Press freedom is the fundamental principle that media outlets and journalists can publish information and opinions without government influence, censorship, or fear of retribution.
Yeah, anybody can take that on.
Roger, the problem is he violated a federal law. Your First Amendment does not trump Uru's First Amendment.
No, I agree with that all day long. I don't think they should have ran up and disrupt the church service. They was wrong as I don't know what for that. So now my thing is, was Don Lemon being the disruptor, or was he just covering the disruptors?
No, he was being a disruptor. Listen, you know, if me and you know, if you take me to do a crime, your ass is going down with me, right?
That's why I don't take you to do crimes.
And that's why you understand what I'm saying?
You can't trust them New York boys when you out there trying to do some business, Roger.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Ooh. Oh, man.
You smell me? So that's he messed up. That is exactly where he messed up at. If he was there,
I agree with what you're saying, though, Chuck. I know I cracked the joke, but yeah, I get where you're coming from. I definitely get where you're coming from.
And you know what? I don't necessarily.
The bad problem is he documented the whole thing from them sitting in the damn park.
Yeah, that was the crazy part.
Giving out the addresses. Yo, y'all know the address we going to. He knew where they was going.
Yeah, he
again. That's
it'd be
where
different if he acted like he don't know.
If he's with CNN, he's got producers and everything. They're not going to let all that go down. You know, that's where his no longer being affiliated with CNN. That's where it kind of came into play there.
He might not have been there if he was with CNN. They would have got a call saying there's something happening at the church, and he would have ran and
bingo. Why? Because that would have put CNN in a vulnerable situation to get all kinds of money sucked up out of them. No pun intended.
Why y'all
CNN? He would. Yeah.
Why y'all let Roger sit up here and dance all around and get on up out of the trap I had him in? Why y'all do that?
Bro, you ain't no hunter. Bro, you ain't no hunter. You can't trap Roger. I'm like San Juan Fair. I'm everywhere. Unfortunately, I can't be trapped. But I will say this: I would not do anything to make myself part of a story. Because I will grant you this, y'all. If you are interpreting his actions as making himself part of a story, that is a different degree than just covering the story. The way I looked at it, I don't see himself making himself a part of the story. The fact that he was smart enough to sit out there.
Bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. The fact that he was smart enough to tell them people, no, I ain't going in till they go in, to me, helps him be able to say, I wasn't making myself part of the story. You know? Now, when the folks went in there, if you cover the story, you got to go in there to cover it. So now the question is should he or should he have not gone in and he know that story was inside of that building?
He should not have went in. That's what made him lie. That's what made him break. That's what got him breaking the law. And on top of conspiring with them to do so.
I can't see him as conspiring. They had a plan about what they were going to do. And obviously they alerted Don Lemon, which made him come to see the plan get executed. That's not conspiring. The people who put the plan together is the people who conspire.
If you're there when the plan is put together, you're conspiring.
But the plan was already put together. He just showed up to cover it go down.
No, because they were still giving out the addresses while he was there. They were still planning it while he was there, literally in that parking lot. They was planning it. Even when
I wouldn't say that was them planning. To me, that was giving out giving the details to people who needed certain details to execute the plan.
That's a plan.
Well, I guess I don't see it there. If I make a plan and I tell you to come to a particular place and I got to give you details about the plan that was already made, I mean,
that's
if we
planning.
You're saying Lemon coordinated this event that he got together and said we're going.
He might not have coordinated the event, but he was part of the plan. When they all gathered around, they were giving out the address to each other, and this is where we're going to go. This is what we're going to do. You're part of the conspiracy now.
Well, I'm saying if we decide we're going to rob a bank, okay, now we get to the bank to flesh out some final details. The decision was already made that we come there to rob the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I may have to say, yeah, that's the door that you're going in. Or, you know what I'm saying? This over here, that's exactly where I see that mailbox right there. That's exactly where I want you to put the car. The plan was already in place to rob the bank.
That's not how conspiracies work, Roger. And this is the problem. Like, you got to know the law, man. Like, yeah, he's hopefully, he messed up. First, he messed up by just documenting the whole shit. He should have just had his camera down, and when he, like Truth Teller said, you wait outside for everybody to come out and like, yo, how do you feel about what happened inside? What happened inside? Da 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 da. But the fact that you at the parking lot and they giving you the address and you talking about, yeah, they're going to do something. I can't really tell you what they're going to do right now. That was bad. That was bad business.
I mean, it do look bad. I agree to that. It definitely looked bad. Let me read this super chat and then I let you in. Great Black Reset. Shout out to Elder Blood. He says the Illuminati, aka white men and black women. Oh no, I read this one.
Yeah,
was this new?
No, you read that one.
No, he did something different with it.
Oh.
No, he started it the same way. The Illuminati, aka white men and black women's new world order, replaced God's original world order. Hence, Don Lemon, no different than pro-black divester. Same D addict. And I think Elder Blood is. I think you're right. They after the same D. That's for sure. They are definitely after the same D. Don and the quote unquote divestors. But Great Black Reset, you are back. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get yours in. While you was trying to hand me up, but you ain't gonna be able to do it. But go ahead. We saw you unmute. We don't hear nothing though. Okay, that's a him thing. It's not a me thing, y'all. Shout out to Afro Merchant. He said he didn't plan it. He just attended the meetings to plan the robbery. I'm gonna say I get where Shark is coming from. He was there for the execution of it. I would say that he was there for the execution of it for sure. It don't look good. Would I convict him for being being involved with the conspiracy to see? I don't know if he added any element to planning. It seemed like he was just going to see where they were going and run behind them. That's what it kind of seemed more like to me. I think Truth Teller has a point that he probably shouldn't have just went in that church at all, and then this wouldn't be in question. But did he really plan anything?
He would be a co-conspirator because he did conspire with them to bring the cameras in there and film the shit.
Is my mic good now?
Yeah, you rocking.
Yeah, your mic sound nice.
Okay. Thank you. Listen, I don't like what Don Lemon did, but I'm gonna give him some credit. His credentials as a former reporter are still good with the masses, and he pulled out 2 Trump cards. He said, "I'm gay and I'm a Christian. You can't defeat both at the same time. You just can't do it. I do believe that he's there for an agenda, just like you said. This is how to get black people involved in this ice raid stuff. And he sees the opportunity to get his face back on television and get some relevancy. It's a little reckless, but I think this brother knows what he's doing. He knows how reporters move, and I think he's just pushing fine lines of questionability where it's a little bit of trouble, but not enough to really get him to get him to candy land like he really want to be. But he doing all right. I got to give him credit. I don't like it, but I give him credit for his savviness.
No,
I got to
like
give
we
him
said,
credit.
this is gonna
Uh
get
huh.
him. This is gonna get him to Candyland.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't even think he gets arrested.
Well, if he get no, I'm saying if he get arrested, he going to Candyland.
So
Nah, nah, he gonna hide behind. I was just reporting the facts. That's how I was just reporting the facts, bro. You can, bro. If you see a bombing happening, you can't stop him from bombing somebody, bro. He just reporting the facts. That's what these reporters do. They put themselves in these sticky situations. People love it. As long as you're reporting bad news, you're gonna be protected. I think he slides on this, bro.
Well, I hope he don't, because if he don't, if he gets to slide, that's setting a precedent that people could just do whatever they want right now. So Roger could be in church and suckers could run down in Roger in church and interrupt his whole church service and do whatever they want to do. Now they're going to be trying to run up in mosques, and like this sets a precedent, and that's the That's the bad part about this.
Nah, if we shut Don Lemon down for reporting, we got to shut the Roger report down. We got to
No,
shut all kind of other people down, bro.
no, it's
We
not
got
the
to give it
shutting.
to him.
It's not shutting him down for reporting. It's shutting him down for doing what they did as far as running into a place of worship. There's nothing wrong with. See, I'm not saying it's anything with reporting. I'm
you,
I
sitting
don't
here
you
think.
just
with a
saying
reporter right now.
you saying he made himself a part of the story instead of just covering the
I'm
story
just saying
based on the fact that he went in.
the slippery slope. Trump started the slippery slope of this shit when he went in office. I mean, let's be real. Now at this point, we're cherry picking what is and isn't illegal. I
Right,
mean,
right.
how many cases right now? Hold on. How many cases right now are in federal court where there have been positions taken against decisions that have been made by this presidential administration? It's got to
It's
be
a ton.
dozens, if not
Ton.
hundreds.
Most of them been thrown out though already.
So in an environment like that, it's difficult for me to get overly squeamish about this kind of event when you're actually creating an environment in which this kind of thing happens.
Now I
See,
would say,
been evil. There's always been evil racist people, and most of them have attended Christian church services. You haven't had events like this, but the reason why you haven't had events like this is because generally the people in power operate with a degree of aplomb legally. And they didn't always do things right, and they didn't always do things legal, but they weren't so audacious in their approach to things and that helped to maintain a general environment of cordiality amongst how people would generally operate on all sides of the issue. Well, what happens when the president is a hellraiser, the attorney general is a hellraiser, the homeland security person is a hellraiser, certainly the secretary of defense is shooting people out in open water. Uh, that changes people's behavior. That changes people's disposition. And so things that they would never think to do before, it becomes a part of it of the environment.
I can agree. I
So
can agree with
stepping
that.
into a church ain't a big deal. Stepping in a church ain't a big deal when you shooting citizens in the face on the streets.
Listen, I can agree with that, but does that still negate the law?
And it
I never
wouldn't.
said it negated the law. My
So
whole
then,
point is you yourself have negated, your actions have negated the law. Trump's
No,
actions have negated the law.
I
And the
definitely
people who
agree
work
with
under him have negated the law. You created an environment of lawlessness, and it's going to breed similar sorts of responses.
I definitely agree with what you're saying, but it don't negate the law because everybody else is breaking the law. Like, you know, the saying my uncle always used to say, when I used to stay in Jersey, he always used to tell me, nigga, you better remember, you don't got the complexion for the protection. Meaning, just because they could do stuff don't mean you could do stuff. Just because somebody do something, what they always say, your friends jump off the building, you gonna jump off the building too?
Well, I heard that and it was a cliff when they said that to me, but but the point's still the same.
Well, you know, history will tell us ultimately what this is, because history might say that, you know, Lemon is a hero, and I can actually see things going in that direction, because we only got so much stuff like this can happen, where at a certain point it gets pretty damn perilous.
And
I mean,
that's
you
why
only
I
got
said,
so many, people. You only got so many people you can have running through the streets, grabbing folks up and stuff. Where you could talk about the law and all that, but when you start dragging people out of their houses and stuff, eh, you moving in a different direction.
Well, I think some of that stuff needs to be brought up more because that's not the stuff I'm really seeing people talking about, and maybe everybody's algorithm is different, but that ain't what's coming across mine. I say that's not what's coming across mine, and so I think stuff like that should be made an issue, and immigration just has to stay in the box of immigration itself. Now, ICE agents should understand that you literally can't just go around bothering random American citizens. So they should have a plan that catches up people where you're not going around just bothering random American citizens. Now, and the fact that they don't have that plan, is very problematic, and they're going to run up on the wrong one. Somebody's going to sue the government over that. They're going to run up on the wrong one at some point.
Roger, they do have the plan. The problem is we have the media manipulating the people of America. Point blank, period. Yo, there's always going to be like the war on drugs. It's always going to be some collateral damage, bro. There's always going to be some collateral damage. Always.
Well, there was no war on drugs. It was just a war on black men.
And,
you
and how do we as a society benefit from that so-called war on drugs? How do we as a society benefit from it? They destroy communities. They destroy businesses. They destroy several generations of black men in particular with that war on drugs.
Absolutely. And shout out to Guru. He said these white boys from Vice can do ride-alongs with straight killers and dealers, but Lemon can't document a real situation that affects America.
That's a good point, but the caveat to that, them white boys were smart enough to cover their goddamn faces. And Vice also had a legal department that understood what you can and cannot do.
Now I'm gonna say, Don Lemon then technically, because I hear what you and Truth Teller saying, real talk. I accept that Don Lemon may have put himself in a slight jeopardy because of if you could argue that he made himself part of the disruption. If you can get people to go for that, yeah, he can go down. He can go down. I'm personally gonna say based on what I've seen so far, I wouldn't put him as the person who's creating the disruption. He's just a person who covered the disruption that obviously somebody made him aware was going to happen. And he showed up on time for it to happen. And the fact that he could have went in that church before they even started happening, to me, further gives him credibility that he was not trying to create the disruption himself. He just wanted to capture the disruption.
No, I would definitely agree with that. He wanted to capture the destruction, but The documentation that he presented showed that he was a co-conspirator, and they did that was a federal crime that happened.
Well, I would say I wouldn't say he was a co-conspirator because he didn't come
But
out with nothing.
that has not been proven yet. Like I said, you had a magistrate who refused to issue an arrest warrant in him. That's the lowest threshold of possibly executing any sort of criminal conviction. If you can't get an arrest warrant, you can't do shit.
No, because the
If you can't get an arrest
lowest.
warrant, you definitely can't. If you can't get, well, yeah, but thus far there has been no emergency. Well, no, we gotta issue an arrest warrant against Don Lemon. That has not happened. This event has happened days ago. That has not happened. So at this point, we don't even know what's going to happen. If he's ever going to be arrested, much less indicted, much less tried, much less convicted.
And I gotta say this too, because I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from if it's somebody else other than Don Lemon. Do we want to live in a society where reporters cannot report?
No, we definitely don't.
I mean,
you definitely don't. But you gotta. There are reporters that went to jail for doing illegal stuff. So he's like, I don't think Don Lemon is the face should have been presented as the face of it, but he damn sure is the person who documented it and put it out for everybody to see. So I think that's where he put himself into a predicament too, other in by documenting that he was part of he was there while they were planning it. Like True Teller said, if you there when a crime is being planned, you gotta report that shit.
Well, to me, he should. I ain't gonna say he shouldn't have reported. Yeah, that True Teller made a great point there. But to me, it seemed like the crime was already planned, and he just got there at the back end. That's what it seemed like to me. So based on what I know, I wouldn't necessarily convict him. Now the other people, yeah, I would convict them because I know that they literally came there as part of a plan to disrupt a protected right. So yeah, I would lock all of them up.
But Roger, if me and Uru plan to rob the bank, and like you said, when we get there, we tell you this is the door you're gonna go in, right? And you go in that door, you are part of the bank robbery.
I get what you're saying, but I do believe deference is made about reporting the bank. And now, if you reporting the bank robbery, I can't see you as part of the bank robbery.
How you know the bank robbery is happening if you in the damn bank? But come on, you ain't cashing a check and then we Uru run in put your hands up and you turn around with your camera.
Well, I mean, I think people in this particular case, people were looking for different things. Don Lemon is looking for the news stories and what the news story can do for him. These people, they're looking for the disruption and what the disruption is going to do for their organization. So to me, it's just the two things just kind of align momentarily.
Well, hey, like the lawyer guy said that you showed, it's a lot of evidence that son was part of, you know what I mean? And then that he's not the first judge I've seen. I don't know if we could say judges' names on here and stuff like that, but there's another prominent judge that I watch a lot of, and he was like, yeah, boy done wilded out. This ain't like Martin Luther King and them going into a restaurant.
Well, I'm gonna say, well, I mean, you could say the judge's name if he's an actual judge,
Yeah, Judge Joe Brown said boy cooked.
Okay.
Boy done ran into the hot water.
And I'm gonna say when I saw what Nate presented, I couldn't agree that what he displayed in video agreed with what came out of his mouth. To me, those were two different things. I saw the video, but the video did not match what came out of Nate's mouth. That's how I saw it. It was BS to me. Yeah.
But you gotta remember too, these people are they trained professionals. If Uru tell you about some numbers, I would go with what Uru saying because he's a trained professional with numbers. You know what I mean?
Nate, in my opinion, and I'm going to preface this in such a way to protect Roger, Black Uru's opinion. Those who's listening, in my opinion, Nate, the attorney, or whatever his name is a paid operative of those people. Everything
Of which
I've
people?
observed of him, of those
Which
people,
people we?
you know who
Which
I'm
people we
talking about.
talking about? The feds?
Roger, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. I know you're talking about. I definitely know who you're talking about.
The hats,
Yeah.
poquito
Now
zapatos.
I'm avoiding specificity to protect Roger, and I'm relying on the intellect of the gentlemen on this panel and in the audience to draw their own conclusions without necessarily representing anything in the public chat, people,
Copy. I could dig that.
without doing so.
I could dig that.
Yeah, and I do want to say, even when it comes to expertise, there's levels of expertise because I don't like to argue with experts myself. I think it's kind of silly. But there is a level of expertise with numbers, which is something that does not change, versus an expertise with opinions that do change. And I'm just gonna say, when I hear somebody tell me something and I see a picture of something that don't match what they're talking about, it seems shady to me. Period. I don't care who you are. If I'm watching a basketball game and I hear you describing a football game, you shady to me. That's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying? And you can be an expert. An expert don't mean they're going to do what's right all the time. I will not argue with experts,
Yeah, no,
but
it's a lot of experts. It's a lot of experts that is on some paid operative ops bullshit.
yeah,
In fact, some of the most effective experts are such. They
yeah,
appear in court by the hundreds every day,
yeah.
testifying yay or nay on one side of the issue or another.
And, and I'm gonna say, for me personally, when I hear an expert sit down and describe a situation that I see the same video of, I should be able to instantly agree with what that expert said. And if I cannot instantly agree with what that expert said, that's a problem. And that's real talk. That's a problem. If you an expert in the field and you showing me the video and you talking about what's in the video and I can't just agree with you, that's problematic to me. Because you an expert. You supposed to know this better than I do. So I shouldn't even have a question. I'm just gonna say that. I shouldn't even have a question. But Mr. X has come up, and I do want to get him in. Mr. X?
Yeah. Hello, Roger. How you doing? This is
We know.
KFC, but I got you. Yeah. So, sometimes I go by my other
We know
alias,
who
Mr.
you are.
X.
I
Okay.
kind of had a feeling it was you. I kind of had a feeling it was
Unfortunately,
you.
you're a little bit too distinguishable to be Mr. X.
All right. But yeah, gentlemen, I unfortunately I didn't hear everything you guys are talking about because I'm at work. But I will say this because I wanted to pop up and just kind of point to some of the things I'm seeing with this Don Lemon situation. So, and I'll say this right up front. This is my bottom line up front. This is why Black people have no business at somebody else's protest. This Don Lemon situation right here is why. Now, there's other protests that have gone on that I've seen where Black people have been involved. And essentially, whenever something goes wrong or there's some negative that comes out of that protest, all I'm seeing is the Black people get blamed. Hundreds, thousands of white people at these protests. And okay, we know about Renee Good, and we know they took her out. We got that. But all of these people doing all of this stuff, tearing stuff up, burning stuff down, bars in the churches, doing all this other stuff and everything else. The only people I'm seeing that's getting any negative attention, backlash, or talking about punishment is the Black protesters. And in this case, by the way, Don Lemon wasn't even a protester. He was acting as a journalist, which is, yeah, he's allowed to do that. The problem is that he got involved and he inserted himself by now making contact with somebody that was on the ground instead of just staying outside, being neutral and simply reporting on the situation. He didn't have to go inside the church. He didn't have to talk to anybody. He didn't have to kind of make it look like he was somehow associated with it. And even after he did his whole clarification video and remarks and all this other stuff, it doesn't matter because now the narrative is somehow he planned it, he was involved, and now you got the president on him, the vice president. You got all of these people and all these organizations, especially the right-wing organizations, blaming him for a protest that was literally organized by non-black people, specifically white. And maybe some Hispanics were involved too. But the bottom line is that this is why when somebody who's not you, who has no business at a protest that has nothing to do with you, then you don't need to be there. I say when the opposition is making a mistake, you do not interrupt them. And that's what Don Lemon did, which is why he's at the top of this. And he's got all of this notoriety for something that he wasn't necessarily associated with. But I'm seeing that not only in this protest, but the one just last week where 2 black men were at a protest with a bunch of white folks doing a bunch of crazy stuff. They helped out a guy who was actually, being a nuisance. And instead of, them being thanked, people were coming down on them. So my whole point again is, at the end of the day, do not be involved in these things. But then the other thing too is Don Lemon is doing this because he's either trying to get back on TV, he's trying to get some attention and clout, or he needs some money. All right. I wouldn't even have anything to say if he just kind of stood outside, did his reporting, and it just was very neutral, but that's not what he did. He literally inserted himself, and now he's the topic of discussion versus the people who actually should be getting the castigation. I'll go ahead and land right there.
I agree with you, Kev. He's literally trying to get back in the graces of the liberal white media. But if you watch the video, Don Lemon sat his behind in that snowstorm in that parking lot and said the black chick was the organizer of the whole thing. It was no white people that organized this. The black lady even said she was the organizer, and this is what they do. It's called Project Pull Up.
So basically, he threw black people under the bus again.
Thank you. And black people are sitting here defending him like he's one of us, bro. No.
I did mention that earlier that he peeped it out and threw names out there and everything. So I can't argue why black people don't mess with this guy. You know what I'm saying?
So is Don Lemon working for the same people Nate the lawyer working for?
I mean, at the end of the day,
he's working for the other side, but it's just opposite wings on the same bird. Yes, opposite wings on the same bird.
Well, I'm gonna say
so
this.
Here's the other thing too. Go ahead.
Now you go ahead. You on limited time. I'm not.
Here's the thing with Don Lemon. Don Lemon, and this is again, you can agree or disagree with his lifestyle. He's got that alternative lifestyle. I don't care for it, but that's neither here nor there for me. The thing is that he identifies more with alternative lifestyle than he does being black, right? And he's done that for decades. Nothing wrong with it if that's what he wants to do. But that's why nobody rocks with him, right? Because he says he's more LB, whatever, all this other stuff and everything else than he is actually black. See, when people see him, they see a black man first. They don't see somebody who engages alternative lifestyle. See, so that's what they see first. So that's what you got to go off of. That's what you should be going off of, right? Because race is an issue. I know people are trying to get away from it, but race is an issue in the United States. So nobody cares about your sexuality or your religion and all this other stuff. That's tertiary and secondary, right? But your race is an issue in the United States because it's a race-based nation, and that's what comes first in the United States. So the fact that he does everything else other than black and then tries to pop in and out of it, which is also problematic, is why nobody wants to rock with him. So the trouble that he's getting, he essentially needs to get it. I'll land.
And I'm gonna say, I think there's reason to accept this was a job application. Okay, that's what Don Lemon did. He put in the job application, to certain people to see if they were willing to hire him again. And when it comes down to it, now I appreciate him covering the story. It's good to know that people are doing stuff like this at the end of the day. But again, I don't see stuff the way other people see stuff. When I look at what was going on, I see a bunch of white folk. I ain't see no black folk there. And I don't understand why black folks are trying to insert themselves in an issue with the U.S. government needs to get rid of people who ain't supposed to be here, regardless of how you feel about it. And at the end of the day, I think there's something going on because I'm seeing way too much stuff where these quote unquote black people are supposed to be involved in something that really black people don't care about like that.
Here's where it gets murky though. here's where it gets murky, and this is the same thing with what happened with the BLM thing, with starting from Mike Brown and all that came from that. Some of these black folks are paid operatives too.
Oh yeah.
So just because you see
Yeah.
folks appearing at these protests don't necessarily mean that they just regular, black folks.
No, I agree with that because what I'm really implying is why would a black person be at any of these in the first place? Why would a black person fight to keep
Because
an
if you
illegal
notice,
immigrant here?
in
We have no
general,
reason.
black people have since Trump has been in office, maybe other than complaints of black women in particular with respect to the layoffs and the stuff that went down with obviously the whole snaps thing and people, at least having certain, federal subsidies and whatever, at least temporarily disrupted. Black people collectively have been relatively quiet on a lot of this shit the last year as a group, from what I've observed. Maybe you all can tell me
Yes.
something different.
No,
But
I
from what that's
honestly,
what I've observed. Yeah.
I think it's been
No, you're
so
correct.
quiet. Well, let me just say real quick. I think it's been so quiet that it's a lot of backdoor stuff going on where they're trying to pay black people to be a part of this situation when it really ain't got nothing to do with us. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was
agree.
going to say that absolutely. If you guys remember the No Kings protest, they did 2 or 3 of them at this point. They were actually complaining that they couldn't find black people. So black people were like, "Hey, we're not a part of this. All of your complaints, you guys are just whining. You guys go ahead and deal with that." Which is why those protests were relatively ineffective. The other thing too is, and this is the problem I have with the black people who actually are showing up, is that most of them, I suspect, are immigrants of African and Caribbean descent, which makes it an immigrant issue, and that's fine. The problem is that they're not openly identifying themselves as an immigrant and making it clear that this is what they're shooting for. They're presenting themselves as people who are essentially like freedmen descendants, or people who are born here, have the history that goes back 400 plus years, or however, at least by all the way back to enslavement, right, in North America / the United States. They're not doing that. I can guarantee. I know for a fact there was a group of people who are African or Caribbean, and they're presenting it. They're at these protests, and they're not presenting themselves as that. They're not openly saying, "I'm an immigrant. I support immigrant issues and all this other stuff, whatever." That's the problem, and they're doing that with intent. I don't know if you already guys mentioned it, but I know you guys already saw the fake Black Panther guy, right? Who's running around here claiming he's a Black Panther party for self-defense. He's an immigrant. Nothing wrong with that, but he's not. That's not what the Black Panther Party stands for. Right. So he's basically attaching himself to a black cause, a black organization that's historically black, all black empowerment, black focus, whatever. But he's using it in support of immigrant causes. And not only that, his quote unquote coalition's got some Asians in there. There's a photo, Asians, white folks, somebody who looks Dominican. He himself looks Dominican. Nothing wrong with that, but that ain't the Black Panthers. So this is what's going on. I'll land.
Yo, well put, Kev. See, so coming from what you and Urus just said, and what True Teller was agreeing with, they just trying to get us to jump out the window. Point blank. They trying to do whatever they could do to get us to jump out the window so we could get our head busted too. And like Uru said, Kev C said, we supposed to be minding our goddamn business.
I think you're right, and I think so. You can start to tell, like, because I've been watching some of this stuff online where you got like one individual black person out there with a whole bunch of white people. You can start to see, okay, that ain't one of us, because yeah. So I'm starting to notice, and as y'all already know, I got a side of my family that's Caribbean, right? So I grew up with both sides, like visiting. Like in the summers, I'm going to Georgia, um, and South Carolina to go visit family and staying there for a month or two. I'm going to Jamaica, going to stay with family a month or two. I can clearly see, even if somebody's pretending, where they're actually from. I can tell the mannerisms. I can hear how they pronounce words. I know what the differences are, and I can hear what they're talking about and how they approach conversations. I can tell that, okay, you probably Caribbean, you not from here. And a lot of it is that's who these people are. I can hear them say, I can hear when they talk. There's a couple people that is online right now. You know, they popular and they say stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you not from here. We don't even talk like that from here. You sound like you from somewhere else. In specific places, they talk and they say certain things in certain ways that sheds light on it. So now you're just starting to see that one individual black person standing out, and it's not even our bootlegs. Our bootlegs ain't even out there. So you know you can kind of tell now.
Mhm.
It's getting painfully obvious.
Yeah.
Well, see, the
You're
thing is
not gonna have
that
too
we know the
many
difference.
FBAs. Oh,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I was
No,
just
go
saying
ahead, Kevin.
we know the
You're
difference, but everybody else doesn't. Yeah, so you guys know that. So we know the difference, but everybody else doesn't. So I've seen a couple of white content creators and people, I just, the right wingers and all this other stuff. They've picked up on that stuff and they go, look at this, the Black Panther Party, and they're out here threatening ICE. See, that person doesn't know that guy is an immigrant. They just see somebody who's blackish or pretending to be black or whatever it is they got going on, and they believe it. We understand it, but the thing is that it's more dangerous for somebody who's non-black to be like, oh, okay, well that's just a black person, and black people are involved, and this is how black people get associated with stuff that ain't got nothing to do with us. That's how this happens, which is how you get HBCUs getting threats.
Well, I seen a
Well,
video.
no,
Well,
the
look,
HBCU got threats
not
because
to disagree with part of it. Look, I think those people do know. They do know the difference. But I don't think it's necessarily in their best interest to cite the difference. Now they
right.
will when they think it's in their interest, particularly if they think it's in their interest to foment uh you know disagreement between FBA and non-FBA people, they will cite that. But when it's not in their interest to do so, when they just want to put a bad black face on things, then they'll just lump us all in one group, even though they know specifically that they're not FBA people. So you can't trust any part of it. You can't trust the Trump side of this, and you can't trust the people on the opposite side of this. And that's why black people, FBA people are for the most part are smartly sitting this whole thing out.
Don Lemon gay ass out there. Man, fry his behind.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we didn't care too much for Don Lemon when he was in Chicago. So nobody really cares. Nobody really cares about Don Lemon, but he is a part of. He didn't create the mess. He himself may be contributing to and is a part of the mess.
Yeah.
But
Right. Right.
I agree.
Trump came in, throwing flamethrowing everything. And when you do that, you create all kinds of other problems, including
What you say, Uru? Don Lemon been like this from the start. His origins is like this, so he's the only consistent factor happening right now.
Yeah, basically.
He's the only consistent.
Yeah.
Since where black people ain't consistent, Don Lemon is proving it. Yeah, he's just looking. He's looking for clout right now because they broke their tool, and he's trying to figure out a way to get back in. His best bet would try to be jumping on that LGBT bandwagon. That's probably where he could make the most of his stuff. But they're not really saying too much right now in this situation either.
The best thing that would happen to Lemon would be for him to be arrested and indicted and possibly even tried. That would be, now it would be a hell of an experience, but if from a professional standpoint, in terms of him so-called asserting the integrity of his profession, I think he makes millions from that if that happens.
I don't think y'all caught Uru when he just said it will be a hell of an experience, y'all. I don't think
Well,
y'all
yeah,
did
yeah,
y'all
obviously,
catch the meaning.
in multiple
What?
ways, in multiple ways, in multiple ways, it would be a hell of an experience for Lemon. But but no, I think even like professionally, I think his getting arrested and his making himself sort of public face of the antagonist of the of what Donald Trump is doing, I think that would make him a hero to a lot of people, and probably be considered to be even a more useful tool for the high end folks on the opposite side of this thing than he even currently is right now.
Yeah, I think the best thing we
You
could have
know,
did was the best thing we could have did in the last 10 years was form that FBA ADOS thing because. Like you said, Uru, like I seen a joint with Tucker Carlson was even sitting there like, yeah, I could understand why ADOS was formed. You know what I mean? To separate themselves from everything else. So I like, and like you said, like you don't see us out there. The ones that you do see out there are literally either LGBTQ black women or paid informants to make the crowd look like it's bigger than it really is. Because I don't know anybody personally that went to any of these rallies or even really gives a damn about any of that stuff going on to the point where they're going to take a day off of work.
Well, not only
right,
that, one other thing
right,
that's happening with
right,
this
and
is that BLM is actually associated with that church interruption protest. So somebody from BLM organized something related to that protest. So you got whoever those other protesters are, and you got BLM associated with it. And the problem with BLM is that they're essentially a no credibility, essentially defunct, useless organization at this point. It, they're a joke. So them inserting themselves is even more of a problem.
Uh, yeah, he was.
yeah, well, if they are perceived to be that, because unfortunately, the white media very often operates on issues particularly concerning or involving black people. Very often, the white media is usually a minimum of 3 years behind. In terms of they'll be presenting people as being sort of the leader of something or having some sort of leverage in something, and in the community of black people, those people probably lost credibility years ago. So to CNN using the word BLM probably still means something, or is perceived to still mean something. And here's the other thing too: BLM is still very much hated by people on the opposite aisle of on the opposite side of this thing. So even like they say, uh, even from the popularity of a villain, they're still very popular, or that phrase and what that entity is perceived to represent is still very popular amongst the media and even people who hate BLM. And to a lot of ignorant white Americans, BLM represents black people. I mean, it's shocking, from our perspective, how ignorant that is. But to especially some fuckers in Bumblefuck, Idaho, to them, BLM is black Americans.
Yeah, I agree. And did
Yeah,
they
that's
just
very
pass a
true.
law about how
Mhm.
if they form like how a group is formed and like because I heard they was trying to go after George Soros, so they had put a whole bunch of different laws in order as far as funding. If it's funded by such and such, it could be like come down as a conspiracy or racketeering charge. So this thing like this hope these forming these groups, this is a lot more serious than people are really
Well, I mean,
understanding.
I just so you know, this has always been the case. I don't know if you remember a few years ago where they had people running into the schools talking about DEI. They was paid too,
There you
right?
go.
So I mean, that law
Mhm.
ain't gonna pass because yeah, they both do it. So they not because they and they usually do it when they're trying to stir up something for votes. It's always wrapped around voting and or stealing slash hiding money. That's the most times that they'll just send people out in these streets to cause mayhem to change direction on stuff. So that law ain't gonna happen. It's pretty much dead in the water because everybody uses this tactic. But what's happening is the whole FBA thing and ADOS thing revitalizing and all the additional names that are coming along for us, none of that is being done at these protests, right? And people try to play it down like, oh, well, not a lot of people know about this. And that's true. Not a lot of people know about the name. But the second you tell any Black American person, oh, it just means the lineage of us folks who've been here since before the country was created, suddenly everybody is cool with the meaning, right? So that's the
Mhm.
next thing that they're afraid of, and they're trying to head it off with having these individual weird looking black people or black acting people do these weird things. But it ain't gonna work because they ain't got no soul, man. You see them, the Puerto Rican dude. I mean, I, how you gonna believe him
Yeah, it's a
and talk
difference.
about
It's a difference.
hey, I'm gonna
It's
take
a
up arms looking at this dude. I don't listen. I didn't even believe his picture, much less I hear what he said. I was like, who is this dude?
Yeah,
He looked
Huey P. Newton's. I think his daughter or somebody in his family, and from his family lineage, said they about to bring a lawsuit up against them dudes for defamation of character and stuff like that. So we
good
already
for
on
her.
top of that as far as African Americans and
Good for
ADOS.
her.
I just think
Even
and
if
I know
even if
Don
from just a purely branding standpoint, it is a time to really establish the branding of you know
right.
of
Yeah, it is.
FBA people in this.
And I mean,
Well,
it's seeping, right? I know there's some older people that's like, nah, I don't know anything about it. But the second you describe it to them, it's like, oh, you mean when we was Negro and Black? Yeah, that's just a new name. And it's not
exactly.
even a hard thing to explain to nobody, right? It's just like, oh, before this African American thing, that this is gonna be our name, so we don't have to deal with that no more. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, okay, cool, and that's it. Because the culture's been here, man. It ain't going nowhere neither. But what's happening is because everybody's relaxing on some, let's just see what happens next. This ain't our fight because y'all fighting for other kind of people. It's not looking good for these other kind of people, and the politicians is getting scared. They're getting scared because
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
look, the politicians have really been playing this sort of divide
yeah,
and conquer and
Exactly.
pick and choose and king making and all that amongst non-black people in general or non-white people, but especially different groups of black people. They have enjoyed playing kingmakers amongst us non-white people for forever, and they've become enriched by it. They've gained status from it. They've gained political power from it, great wealth from it, control over the art, all the great art that Black people have created. And so when we start drawing those distinctions and separations, it's going to become much more difficult for them to do that.
yeah.
And there is going to be some blowback and pushback on that. Yeah.
Ooh, you don't yell at me. I'm gonna defend our bootlicks. I think if they would have just mixed in our coons a little bit better, this might not have happened at this point in time. Because at least you could, but they couldn't get none of our bootlegs elected, or at least they didn't try. Well, I guess they did try, but
Well,
it ain't work. But
the problem with our booth licks is, and this is going to sound a certain kind of way, and so I'm almost afraid to say it. Well, very often our bootlicks are not amongst the most charismatic of us. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like I would say, to her credit, Candace Owens is probably the most charismatic bootlick we've had in, I don't recall. And when I say charismatic, I say the ability to draw some favorable sort of, or at least to grab and hold on to your attention. You know, like most of our bootlicks are not, have not been particularly, you know, have not been particularly compelling people very often.
Now hold on, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell
Yeah,
you
And
my
so
in a
she's
lot
boo.
of
had that
cases, their
yeah,
fundamental.
intelligence levels are lower too. I
yeah.
noticed that. Like, what? Where
That's
they get
true
these
too.
people?
That's
Well,
true
see,
too.
Like
hey,
Roland Martin.
let me say this about Candace Owens. What she's trying to do, she's trying to appeal to the alt right, which she's been doing for the last 10 years. First, when she was with the Daily Wire, she was very critical and always bashing black folks and everything else. But then once she got her wake up call a couple of years ago, she decided to go turn around and start bashing Ben Shapiro and her and his group of people who he's supporting with and everything else. And she's getting a lot of ratings for it, going after Ben Shapiro and everything else. And really, she's gotten the real the people the far right, the much more further right folks, on her side and everything else for what she's been doing, here on YouTube.
Wait, hold up, Champ Car. You ain't even
Okay,
get
but
your
have
opening
you
statement out.
gone to any Candace Owens live stream? I
Yeah, I
mean,
have.
man,
Yeah,
this chick be drawing audience. This chick be
Yeah,
drawing audiences the size of CNN.
yeah, I agree. I agree. She's done a really good job doing it and everything.
look, y'all not gonna be coming after my boo boo Candace Owens. That's my little boo right there.
I'm
That's
not.
my
No,
little
I'm
boo.
not. I'm not a. I'm not a big critic of Candace Owens. I'm actually very impressed by her. I'm very impressed by her.
I'm I'm
And
both.
and she's still a very young woman, which is shocking to me. It's shocking to me that someone her age, and being a black female, has been able to move around the way she has, and be able to build on it the way she has. And we can debate what we think of the positions that she either has taken or moved away from, because she appeared to have moved away from certain things, or at least
Hmm.
emphasizing certain things.
Yeah.
But as a media entity, you cannot take away. I mean, she's a profoundly compelling media entity, and has
You,
proven to be a very skillful one.
you listen to this. The one thing I'm looking forward to her to actually interviewing either the minister or either or what or Dr. Wesley Muhammad, somebody within the Nation of Islam, because she
Now,
says she wants to do that.
Champ
You
Car, she can't do that. She can't do that yet. She's setting herself up to run. She set herself up to be elected the first black female, well, colored woman president of the United
No,
States.
I think she's going to do it. I don't think she's going to run for president.
Nah, I
No.
think after she seen what Kamala Harris was able to not do. I
Mm,
think she like, man, listen, I'll kill it up there.
no. I don't think she's going to handle herself well, in those debates. I mean, she'll probably handle herself well in debates, but they're going to tear her apart, bringing old videos of her, you know. I don't think she's going to handle that as well. So I think she's just going to stay
No,
where she is and do her thing.
I think she would be fine as a candidate. I think the real question is what party, or
Was she?
who
Yeah.
what party supports her, or whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, I could she win? Could she win a Republican primary? That would be tough. That
Yeah.
would be tough, because you're going to have a hardcore percentage of white Americans that's not going to be able to go there.
Yeah.
But could
That's
she
why I
win a
don't think
general?
she's going to be
But
able
could she
to.
win a general election? I think she would have a better chance at winning a general election than she would a Republican nomination.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Don Lemon, as he done messed up. Hopefully he don't got the lawyers behind him as he did when he was down with the establishment. So I think he's in trouble. I don't think he was the face of it. I definitely can't. I definitely agree with you guys. I don't
I
think
don't
he
know
was the face
why.
of it.
I don't know what the purpose of Don Lemon was
I
to
think the
me.
best thing that Trump could do is blame him for it and mess with him. But it would, I think it would be foolish strategically to criminalize him. I think that would be a mistake.
I think what's
I think that would
happening
be a
is,
huge mistake to
yeah.
criminalize. Because if you
You know,
once you put him in a court situation, now he's a news topic ongoing, and then CNN and everybody, he's going after the press, he's locking up the press. I think that would be a terrible thing for the Trump administration to do. For
yeah,
their own purposes, it would be a mistake for them to do.
I think Don Lemon is wanting for something like this to happen. He is. He's been wanting some type of attention, and that's what he's getting and everything else. So
He needs
him
it. He's
getting,
waiting. He's trying to get his Tom Brokaw you know what I mean, opportunity type of thing.
yeah.
But it's going. Yeah, it's. I mean, and so Uber, you saying they should have make him don't. If you was this administration, you wouldn't try to make him a martyr. You saying? Am I correct or
No,
I'm wrong?
I wouldn't try to make him a martyr.
You would or
Yeah,
you
I
wouldn't?
don't think yeah, I don't think you make him a martyr. I think you
Right.
just use him. You could use this story to try to discredit him
Yeah,
and what he represents.
exactly.
But once you start to try to lock him up, you make him a martyr.
Right.
Copy.
And they're not, by the way, because let's just say he did do something illegal. The legal violation is basically a warning, right? Because he went in there with them folks, and then they broke it up, and then everybody left peacefully. I mean, that's why the judge is throwing it out. Like how? What am I supposed to? How do you want me to prosecute this nigga? He went in there with him. The people that was in there is not telling me to lock him up. They actually all walked out fine together. So, and he was interviewing one of the people, and they was talking to him nicely. So, what are we putting him in jail for? But the best way to get at him is what Trump is doing, just belittling him on TV the whole time and threatening him. Lemon's going to think, okay, he might come after me, but he's not going to come after him because he knows that's all he got. He won't have anything else. It's just that Don Lemon put himself in front of this protest, is what he did, acting like he didn't. And that's what I have a problem with, because if you're supposed to be reporting, you're just supposed to be interviewing people. We ain't supposed to know that you knew from the beginning. You ain't supposed to be part of the plan. You ain't supposed to be in there when they kick in the door, follow right behind them. That's not what reporter does, and that's what he was trying to do.
But Lemon has always had a little show pony in him. He's always had a little, kind of, I'm the gay show pony in him. He's always had that in him.
Right. I think if he can do it, I think his personal self would want to be a RuPaul show pony than anything else, because he wants all that attention, right? And even if he has to look silly to do it, he'll do it. Yeah. So I'm not saying he wants to dress like women. What I'm saying is whatever adrenaline and whatever feeling he gets, he'll do that just for that. Just like you said, he wants to be the show pony. And if this don't work, he's another 6 months to a year, he's gonna do something crazy
got
too.
in trouble. He lost that CNN job by saying that white woman was too old or was past her prime. Don't y'all remember that? That's how he lost that CNN job.
Like, why do you care about her playing? You don't even like
Yo,
women. It
you're
was
right,
weird.
Ubu.
It was
Absolutely
weird.
right.
Yeah, that was some very kind of bitch kind of stuff, but that's kind of
You,
stuff that
you know what?
that's the
This
way he on. Yeah.
the sisterhood in him got away from him. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Cause we all just
It
okay.
it totally was.
That's the sisterhood in him that got away. But so I never understood the gay spectrum where if you're a man that like men, why would you act like a woman? I have a cousin. He don't act like no chick, and he's gay. Dude is 6'3". He all the 260 pounds. He bald. He'll fight. I mean, we come from the same place. He'll fight at the drop of a hat, but he doesn't act like that, right? So I never quite understood it because that was my only contact with somebody that was in that community, and I never saw my cousin acting like that. From when we were young to now that we old, he don't roll like that.
But see, some of these gay guys, the benefit of being gay is you get to assume the attention or try to assume and draw the attention that's usually only afforded to women.
Gotcha.
See, men can't do that kind of stuff, but women and we to some degree accept gay guys being able to do it. So you're right. Now your cousin, he just whatever reason biologically is turned on by men. That's a different thing. This is for some of them. It's not just the having sex with men is the issue. It's the whole I get to be a girl issue, or I get to be able to do what girls can do that boys can't do. Kind
of. Yeah, well, one thing I don't like is fine. You really don't stand on being black. I get you. All right, your whole thing is that lifestyle, and that's how you want to represent yourself. I get you, but can you not put the black face on? Try to put your black face on everything because they just gonna point it back to us. We don't want to be involved in this. We don't believe in what you're saying. I don't even think he believes in what he's saying when he talks about this because I don't see how people say they don't like how ICE is moving. Fine, but it ain't illegal, right? They're chasing people who've done illegal things. If ICE pulls somebody over, suddenly everybody's, oh my God, they're pulling people over. I mean, cops pull people over every day. Do you see people flipping out because a cop pulled them over? Even if you don't get a ticket? Or a cop might ask you a question. What you doing here? Hey, I'm shopping. Do the people flip out because a cop asked you what you doing around here? I mean, come on, man. So, and it's mostly them folk who wild out like they're about to get killed like us. And it's absurd at this point because now I'm finding it disrespectful that you people are acting this way because law enforcement is actually trying to enforce law. Now, y'all want to paint it as if it's the same thing we felt, our people have felt for all these centuries. And that's another thing that's starting to piss me off because a lot of these people are trying to make it align with how black people have been treated in this country. And it ain't nothing like that. And y'all didn't care when it was happening and y'all was down with it. So don't act like you're down with it now.
And the contradiction of him is you heard the Nicki Minaj comments he made, right? Where he said Nicki Minaj is an illegal immigrant. She needs to be deported. But you sitting in here doing protests against illegal immigrants getting deported. So which one is it?
He stepped on his whole argument.
Hold on. He said that? Hold on. He actually said that Nicki Minaj
and he talked about her husband and her brother too. Yeah, it was funny. Whoa. It was weird to him. It was weird. It was really weird because I'm just like, wait, hold on. Ain't this in conflict with all of the stuff that you ever did in your life? And he just said it. Well, I mean, he was, I don't know. She's an illegal immigrant,
now,
but
these are everybody. That's why you have to take a step back and to some degree let a lot of this play out because, as I said earlier, Shark, it's kind of opposite wings on the same bird. Trump loves Lemon and Lemon loves Trump. Because the truth of the matter is they basically feed off of each other or what each other represent.
Mm-hmm.
Lemon definitely feeds off of what Trump represents. And Trump is You know what Trump is? Trump is what was his name in X-Men First Class? The villain in X-Men First Class, played by Kevin Bacon,
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember his
where
name.
I remember that.
Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw. Trump is the political Sebastian Shaw in that the more powerful he gets attacked, the more powerful he becomes.
Yeah.
The harder he's attacked, the more powerful he becomes.
That's a good and that's a good take right there. Ooh, damn.
Bro, I definitely want to come hang out with you and geek out on the comic strips, bro. You're a master with it.
Yeah.
Well, I go all the way back to the early '70s. So yeah, I know that shit.
That's what's up, bro. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think Don Lemon is doing everything he can to get relevancy, and he'll grab on to anything he can get. He wants back in that political
Mhm.
arena in a similar way in which he was before he lost his job. He's doing what Chris Brown did, begging his way back into stardom.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What he's doing.
I guess
I'm not
maybe
sure if
it'll
he
work because
necessarily wants to. I'm not sure
sounds
if he
successful.
necessarily wants to necessarily be back in the traditional media. As I said earlier, Candace No Owens by herself is basically as strong from an audience standpoint as some of these cable networks in
But you
terms
said
of
it.
her subscriptionship, and she has that she's developed that without all obviously the cost structure and the overhead that a network has. So if you pass a certain threshold of subscribers and sponsors in whatever sort of social media venues you use, you could become way more uh, personally successful and wealthier than even you would be on CNN.
But you and Truth Teller hit the nail on the
And that
button.
might be what he's going for.
But you and Truth Teller hit the nail on the button. He's not that charismatic. Look at a lot of them that have tried to cross. Look at Roland Martin. He ain't moving like he used to, and he got Democrat backing and getting money from. He ain't getting it like that online. So C- Candace Owens, like y'all was saying, she is a different animal. Like she has that energy that you need to thrive on the internet.
So what's happening with the difference is
But
so she
but
does
whether
she
you or I whether you or I think Lemon is as capable as Candace don't necessarily mean that Lemon himself don't
Don't
think
think.
he is capable. And I said earlier, Lemon comes across as kind of a show pony type. He comes across like, look at me kind of dude. So I can definitely see him thinking he can be that. I can definitely see him think. Whether you or I agree that he could become that is a different thing.
oh, in his case so the problem with him and other people like him, right? The other people who are on so-called cable or who were on so-called cable is their inability to adapt to the changing politics, right? Most of the older folk that's still on cable, they're in the movement of telling you what you should think, right? Instead of talking about what the people now think. So Candace is a little bit better than in that, right? She's been shifting her targeting. She went against the small hat people, and then suddenly racism existed again, and then suddenly it ain't. It's all black people's fault, and she's adapting to what the different ideologies and thoughts that the public is having about the rest of the public, which is what's keeping her more viable than the rest of them. They're stuck in that niche, and because that's basically now old, they can't change. So therefore, they don't have a choice but to die. And Don Lemon, I think, is that he doesn't. He's not going to be able to change the way he needs to stay relevant in this. news political game. He's just not, because he embedded himself too far in the area that he's in right now. It's too late for him, essentially. So he's just gonna do this weird
No,
stuff.
I'm inclined to.
Yeah, he's gonna.
I think that's an excellent analysis of the situation, and I totally agree. I think he is less likely to be able to do what Candace has been able to do, and it's for the reasons you cite. I agree. I'm not saying that he could do it. I'm just saying he seems like to me to be the personality type who believes he can and should be able to do it. That's what he seems like to me.
I agree. Once you put it like that, I definitely agree.
Let's not doubt it. We might see him one day with some gold teeth, and chains, and Timbs, and a New York Yankees cap, talking about where he from, Uru. So he might be able to change.
With I can't. Who's a gay rapper? I don't know.
The
gay rapper.
It's so many of them. It's so many.
You can't. It's so many of them. I mean,
we talking about out. I guess that's the question.
What's the dude that had the vampire blood in his shoes? What's his name? Little Nas X. There we go. Nah, he can't pull that off. He's too old.
Yeah, we
gotta go with somebody older. Yeah, we gotta go with somebody older. He gonna have to take an old pit road dog look, and then he might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, but truth teller, that the Timbs and that Yankee hat, that was disrespectful. You know damn well. we ain't letting Darlin rock with that.
Listen, he has no other options, man. He can't put on the LA cap. That ain't even gonna be. He can't. All he got left is New York. That's the only way it's gonna roll, man. It's the only shot he got.
New York, and that's it.
Yeah, he only got New York.
Yeah,
I'm about to get off the chat.
Please go to New. Please don't come back. Please don't come back to Chicago. That's all I ask. Don't come back to Chicago.
Why you don't want him to come home, Rue? Come on, now.
I don't. We didn't like him when he was here. We didn't like him when he was here earlier.
He don't have a choice, man. He got to get hood real quick, and New York is his best shot, man. What is he? He can't do Atlanta. What is he going? Come on, man. He can't do Atlanta.
He could kill in Atlanta.
I mean, he'll kill in it. Exactly.
He won't stand down in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, he won't. He'll look like the rest of them. What is he going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
He got to stand down.
Yeah, he won't stand down.
But he really thought he was doing something. He said, you know what, I'm going to take it back to my roots. I'm going to get out in the street with the people. And look what that shit then got you. I said, damn.
Listen, even if I was a reporter player, I'm not going in there with these lunatics. I'm good. I'll be outside, right outside. Hey, what happened? What's going on in there? I don't know nothing.
Well, you know,
I didn't have no hand in this.
Part of the thing with him being, you know, on CNN and being, and, you know, and like I say, he was here in Chicago, and you know, a lot of them people think they kind of it's a kind of a bubble, right? There's a kind of a bubble effect that, you know, I'm the reporter, this is CNN or CBS, you know, it's this bubble effect they think they have over them because of the status of that was associated with their, you know, employer. And I think probably part of what happened with this particular event was he probably didn't really think about the liabilities of the thing very much because he was accustomed to operating with a degree of impunity in certain situations. And he's probably was slightly surprised that it got to a point in which, they're going to actually connect me with this bullshit. You know, he probably was slightly surprised by that. Yeah.
I can see him thinking that you gonna connect me. What? How did I get connected to this?
Yeah.
But nigga, you in there. Right. You got the camera on during the planning phase, nigga. Yeah,
I'm Don Lemon. How y'all put me in this shit?
Just because I was there the whole time, don't mean I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he was in the parking lot whispering to the camera like he was an investigative reporter and shit. I said, nah, Don, you wildin', bro.
Just because I checked the supplies to make sure we had our supplies together before we did this, don't mean I'm part of the movement. I was just helping people.
Hey, don't underestimate the willingness of Don Lemon to try to get back on television for real. I believe that dude will do a sex tape with a Kardashian if they offer him a job, bro. I promise you.
Yeah,
That
because the
dude is trying to
perks,
get back.
because you got
I
real
Yeah.
never,
perks. The perks of
I have
being on
never heard.
TV are outweigh the perks of being a YouTuber like a Candace Owens. Like the party, like there's just a lot more that comes to being a TV celebrity that he's been for all this time, and to come down the way where we're at, I don't think he's willing to stay here.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
Yeah.
think.
think so
I don't
either.
think
I
you
think
heard what he just
I
said,
don't.
y'all. He
yeah.
said
I
to get
disagree.
with a Kardashian.
I disagree.
I
I
think.
think the walls
To get
have
Truth
with a.
come
teller
down.
crazy.
I think if you made that statement, if you said that 5 years ago, if you said that 5 years ago, I would agree with you, Sharp. But I think today you regularly see YouTube, social media famous people very often appear in traditional media now and are featured in traditional media now. So I think that barrier that kind of used to exist, I don't think it exists as much anymore. And if you are a far thinking person, you would be thinking less about where we are and more about where things appear to be headed. Like I see a
Hmm.
lot of guys who just suddenly appear on commercials and television shows, your Kai Cenats and those guys. You see them appear in commercials, and from my perspective, I don't know who this guy is, but you younger people know who they are, and they're all in, Super Bowl commercials and stuff like that. So I think if you're in that business and you're thinking about where things headed, you might be thinking, yeah, no, I do need to be strong, or I can leverage being strong in social media into presence also in the traditional media and politically even, elsewhere.
Well, he might be able to liaison a Lululemon contract.
Look,
Listen,
real quick. I'm
listen.
back, y'all. Look, look. My apologies. Roger got locked out. I didn't have my device charged, and it went off on me, and I had to charge it up. So I locked myself out my own show. That's my fault. Now, y'all did a decent job while I was gone. I did a decent job. Wouldn't have
Man,
been
we
the
bet
same way if I was here. Okay.
we better than the original. Don't act like that. Don't act like that.
He said a decent job. Ain't that
Y'all did
something?
a decent job. I
That's
appreciate
decent.
it. No, I'm kidding. But I'm actually ain't gonna say nothing right now because Chef Mike done came up, so I'm gonna let Chef Mike say
Oh
whatever he
damn.
want to say before I even say anything. Chef Mike, you got the flow, my brother.
Hey chef, it was Truth Teller before you start going in on us. It was all Truth Teller
I,
doing it.
and I wasn't even here. I wasn't even here.
What's in here?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to find yourselves on this fantastic Friday. I jumped up because I wanted to first, greetings to everybody. Always, Roger to you. Black Uru, always giving respect to you, elders. Always a privilege and a pleasure to share the panel with you, sir. I jumped up to actually piggyback on something, a point that Black Uru you made, and I think it's worth expanding. And it's the fact that most Black folks are silent, and silence is powerful in most cases, but we rarely realize it because we're trained to fear silence. We treat silence like a problem to fix, an awkward gap, a loss of control, something that needs explaining. But silence isn't empty, it's loaded. Silence is where people reveal themselves, not by what they say, but by what rises when no one is talking. In conversations, the person who feels every pause is usually trying to manage perception. The person who can sit in silence is often the one with clarity. Silence shows the room. Forgive me. Silence slows the room down. It forces truth to surface. It removes the noise that lets us hide. In leadership, silence signals confidence. You don't rush to respond when you do. Wait, you don't rush to respond when you don't need approval. Let me say that again. You don't rush to respond when you don't need approval. You don't explain what's already understood. In conflict, silence creates space for the other person to hear themselves. Most people talk themselves into clarity if you let them. And in reflection, this is the uncomfortable part. Silence is where you can no longer outrun who you are. That's why we avoid it. But silence strips away performance. It removes the audience. It leaves you alone with your thinking. But if you can hold silence in a room, in a conversation, in yourself, you gain leverage most people never realize exists. Silence isn't weakness. It's not the absence of power. It's the discipline to use it deliberately. And I will land my plane there.
Chef Mike said, "You Negroes talk too much."
Well
Somebody
said.
said.
Well said. That was perfectly said. I just want to say something before I leave for today. You know, years ago, I used to watch Don Lemon on CNN and everything else. He had a really good interview years ago with the minister and everything else. And it's really unfortunate what he has become now in trying to resurrect himself by doing something like this and everything else. I mean, look, if he wants to do it, fine and everything else, but you just got to be careful that you're going to be potentially a target. And I'm hoping that when he does something like this, he's willing to pay the price for it and everything else for the good. Now, to him, I don't want to get involved in this ICE thing. Okay, it has nothing to do with Foundational Black America. But if this is something he wants to do, and this is his mission and everything else to bring this awareness, fine. I hope he succeeds and everything else. So, brothers, we all have a nice day. Stay warm because it's going to be cold this weekend.
Not where I am.
Okay.
Not where I am, player. Sorry.
I'm up here in Chicago in this disrespectful weather up here. I forgot to get on Roger about that.
I'm in Missouri, so it's gonna be. We have an ice storm here in the state of Missouri, so wish me luck this weekend. All right, brothers, take care.
All right, man.
All right, be with you, brother. Be with you, brother. Well,
peace out.
I'm gonna say, look, Don Lemon has done some things. Okay. Would they welcome? I guess that depends on the people. Legally, are they going to make them pay? I don't really think they are right now. When you got a president saying the stuff he's saying, they not going to bother with Don Lemon right now. I guess as a reporter, you do need to be careful about inserting yourself into the news instead of just reporting the news. So that's what you're really there for, is to report the news, not to insert yourself. But I do want to let Red Pill Supercell get in, because we are 12 minutes past 3-hour mark already. But Red Pill Supercell, is there anything you wanted to say before we bring it off here?
In 5 minutes, I'll be showing you the crab clusters.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, since y'all basically said a whole lot of stuff, I ain't get a chance to say nothing because I locked my stuff out, and that's my own fault. So I don't blame y'all. But
that's what made the show great. Don't worry about it. It made the show great.
You owe us 20 minutes anyway because you was off the clock. So you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. It's one of my worst shows I've done to date.
Roger, this wasn't overtime because you ain't put in the time during the correct hours. You just you trying to get to your 40 player. This ain't overtime yet. So
okay, I feel you. But you know what? Hey, once in a while you get off early. Okay. That's what's about to happen. So y'all, hey, I hope y'all appreciate it. I think y'all really did a great job, even though I was gone. You know, not that I don't think y'all are capable people. I'm just saying it for the record, so people don't think I'm really not thinking y'all are capable of doing a great show, because you definitely are. And I appreciate y'all keeping it going, even though I disappeared and couldn't even say why I disappeared. So all I'm gonna say is, though, I do want to say that as a black man, we need more black reporters out there, because we need more people to put stuff in the light the way it should be. Can I depend on Don Lemon to do that? I don't know about all that. So there's got to be some good black guys out there who's willing to really do something in the news area, and that can help us all at the end of the day. But I hope everyone has a great weekend. Y'all be safe out there, because it's supposed to be terrible in a lot of places. So y'all make sure you're safe. Whatever you got to go get it now. Real talk, y'all. Just go get it now. Don't be the person out there and now you need to call a tow truck and can't no tow truck really come get you because the snow coming down too hard or whatever. Just go get it now, man. Get it over with. Okay? If you're at work, get it as soon as you leave the job and call it a day, and stay inside as long as you can. That's simple at the end of the day. If you ain't really got to be there, just don't go. Okay? For all the places gonna get hit hard with these ice storms and all this freeze weather that's coming, y'all, don't make it difficult for the people who do the rescue jobs. Don't make it difficult for the tow truck driver. Don't make it difficult for the people who got to take care of other people that cannot take care of themselves because they can't get through traffic because you out there doing nothing, and now you done had a car accident or you done got a street blocked off because you just in the way and you could have just been at home. Think about someone other than yourself. Real talk, because it should be a rough weekend. But I believe we gonna make it all right. Y'all was there anything that anybody wants to say before we come off air? Is there any last word anybody want to get in? Okay. I'm going to take that as a no. Y'all have a great weekend. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We will see y'all Monday, 9 a.m. Chicago time. Not where you live. Chicago time. Long live the Habitual Line Steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.